Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to a very special Taste the Blood Part 2, which is a part of my Month of the Vampire. And joining me to celebrate, you know, October, all things horror, all things vampire. I brought along with me a host of amazing guests to talk about 4 films that I really enjoy. And let's start from the top, Mr. Jedi Granville, aka Walter Ross.
How y'all doing? Welcome to the party.
Secondly, we have from Anthony Jordan's Movie and Gaming, Mr. Anthony Jordan.
Yeah.
Mhm. And of course, down at the bottom in the right hand corner, we have Mr. Tony at the Dead.
Hello.
Mhm. And then in the middle, he may not be showing his face, but he's definitely here. Maybe he's a ghost, who knows? It's Mr. Sci-Fi Sentry.
Yeah.
How's it going? What it is?
What it is. Let's do this.
Exactly.
And finally, the self-proclaimed the professor, Mr. Daniel Miller.
Hello.
Mhm.
The
So,
academic himself.
yes, so a couple of weeks back, we did Taste the Blood, part 1, part of my month-long, obviously, vampire, theme content on the entertainment headquarters. So this is part 2. The first one would recover. We covered Nosferatu, the 1979. Then we covered Shadow of the Vampire. Then we did not Salem's Lot 1979, which obviously them 3 particular films were classics. The vampires in those films are like the Nosferatu, the bald head, the very pale skin, and the pointy teeth. Where the vampires in these movies and Taste the Blood Part 2, they are more stereotypical type vampires. And we're going to start this off with John Carpenter's Vampires. Because this is the one that I definitely think a lot of people, kind of skip on this a bit, but I think it's a great film with a great cast and a decent story. So we'll talk a little bit about it. So Vampires, also known as John Carpenter's Vampires, is a 1998 American neo-Western action horror film directed and scored by John Carpenter and starring James Woods. It was adapted from the novel Vampires by John Steakley. So Wood stars as Jack Crow, the leader of a team of vampire hunters, who he then brings together with his team of a part of the Catholic Church. He becomes the Master Slayer. The plot is centered on Crow's efforts to prevent a century-old cross from falling into the hands of Jan Valek. Played by Thomas Ian Griffith, who you might know from the Karate Kid series and Cobra Kai most recently. The first and most powerful of all vampires, the film also stars Daniel Baldwin as Tony Montoya, Crow's best friend and fellow hunter. Cheryl Lee is Katrina, a prostitute who has a psychic link to Valek after being bitten. Tim Gunney as Father Adam, and Maximilian Skull as the Cardinal Alba. So, John Carpenter, he's a legendary film director. We know his history with Halloween. We'll start from the top to the bottom. Mr. Jedi Granville, what's when was your first time seeing John Carpenter's Vampires?
I heard. Well, the first time I actually watched it was a year later when it came on HBO. I didn't go to the theater to go see this, but I saw it on television. I was kind of aghast by how they did. And the funny thing is, this film came out the same year that another vampire film came out, Blade. So it's kind of exactly. He agrees. He likes that movie better. But yeah, exactly. But no, I saw it on television, and like I say, just like we was talking about the the mythos of vampirism with Fright Night and Lost Boys. This one, even though it's based on a novel, they still have their own kind of mythos of what they put in there and whatnot. So that's when I first came introduced to it.
Yeah. Anthony Jordan.
I seen it shortly after it came out on home video. My mom picked it up when we were grocery shopping, and I had a good time with it. It was a not radically different take on vampires, but these vampires they made feel a lot tougher and more durable than your average vampire. Like some of them you can only kill by sunlight. And even the ones you can kill other ways, the amount of punishment they can take definitely felt like it put them on a whole other level. And it had a very compelling and interesting story. It's probably not John Carpenter's best movie, but it's got one of the best casts he's ever directed.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like, for me, when it comes to James Wooden particularly, he's perfect in the role that he's casting. It's his kind of character. It's his kind of humor. He delivers this character amazingly. For me, he's on par with George Clooney and Dusk Till Dawn. Like, I would have loved to have seen it, even if it in a comic book form or some, them two cross paths. Them two particular, that would have been a good buddy cop movie, but with vampires. If them two particular characters met up within the world of this, vampire, especially the fact that they're both kind of westernized, set in the West. I think that would be a perfect crossover.
I agree.
But Mr. Daniel Miller.
I first saw John Carpenter's Vampires a couple of years ago when it was on TV on CBS Horror. It was a double bill with another John Carpenter movie, Ghosts of Mars. And I remember seeing Vampires the first time thinking, oh, this is a unique take on the vampire hunter story, setting it in the American desert, which is an interesting thing. I'm all for new takes on things, provided they're done in a way that actually works. Carpenter made a really good effort with his approach. What I really did like about this movie, particularly about the vampires themselves, was how they're just literally all dressed in black in this movie. Because we see vampires in previous days, of course, it's always the leader, the main one, who's dressed in black, like Dracula or Barlow from Salem's Lot. These vampires, they're all in like black suits and shrouds and gowns, and it has more of a. It emphasizes that these aren't just infections or subjects of one Turner. This is a clan. This is a full-fledged unit of vampires. And I especially love the scene where they just rise up out of the desert. So it's like they don't need coffins because they were interned here in the States.
Why is it sunny in that picture?
I think that's because this is a common trick. They shoot day for night in some scenes, especially when it's a sunset. They always change the color saturations and, of course, the dark and light contrast to give the illusion that it's sunset.
Okay. I was gonna say I
Yeah.
don't remember that part.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah.
lot easier than nighttime shooting.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's not called the professor for nothing, Tony. He knows his shit.
Yeah.
So obviously, here you go. This is obviously the good guy gang before they
Shiny
get
snow.
fucking ripped apart, and
Yeah.
as we all know what happens to them later, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi, your first time seeing John Carpenter's Vampires.
Oh man, wow! Like back in high school, I watched it back in high school. I think '98. I mean, I'll be honest. I couldn't catch the film before the live stream, but I do remember James Woods being, over the top, but yet played the role fittingly, and I know all the other people. I don't even remember. Like when you mentioned the the cast, I'm like I don't remember anybody. But yeah, it's for what it was. It was a decent vampire film. I lean towards more werewolves, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good overall vampire film for the time. I mean, it came out in what 90 for
98.
the
1998.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I might have seen it around. No, no. Actually, you know what? If it was '98, then I might have seen it around probably the early 2000s. But yeah, but it's I don't remember. That's the thing, man. But it's some things I remember about it, like James Woods and the stake, the crossbows, or all that stuff. But it's a decent take on vampire hunting, vampires and hunters.
Yeah. Mr. Tony of the Dead.
I really don't remember the first time I saw it. I do remember seeing it, and maybe I watched it once or twice, but this was the first time I've seen it since. And it was a good. All I remembered was like what they wanted, and I kind of remembered the ending, but and the very beginning with the whole hotel and everything, the motel, like that first, like he opens the door and just that was just like, whoa, here we go. It was a wild ride. I thought I enjoyed it. I don't know. I did like it a lot. Being that it's a novel, I would like to read it, or I mean, a book. I would like to read it, but the way this, I don't want to say the ending yet or anything, but the way it ends, I feel like, I don't know. I didn't look it up, but there might be more books or something, or there should be, because I would like to know what happens to, how it ends, and see what happens to the other two that left.
Yeah, I haven't read the book either, but I was wondering if if the ending of the book is made, is it the same, or if they ended the movie to basically
Do a sequel.
to do a sequel or to try and franchise it out, because the franchise
true.
the fuck out of Halloween, which was another John Carpenter made production, and one of the everyone knows Halloween, so it wouldn't have been surprising if this had been successful that they would spin it off. But there is, I believe, a direct-to-DVD sequel.
I believe there are two.
Well, two. Then they have already attempted to franchise, because I don't even know if this did well at the box office.
I don't know.
Let's have a look. I'll have a look on my little device here.
It's funny too. I was thinking, because he's Jack Crow, and like, why is the name Jack always like this main hunter kind of guy? Like the main guy, like Jack Crow, Jack Burton.
Maybe it's a stock name.
Yeah, like I never met anybody named Jack, to be honest. Only in movies.
Yeah, here we are.
Jack, what's the one? Jack something Monster Slayer. That movie.
So yeah, it had a budget of 20 million.
Yeah.
And it made 20.3 million at the box office, the domestic box office. So it only made 3 million profit.
Well,
It broke even. It just broke even.
Yeah. So the film was followed by 2 direct-to-video sequels: Vampire Los Muertos and Vampires: The Turning.
Oh, that's right.
Never heard
I
of.
forgot about that.
Yes.
Heard of.
So, the plot of this movie is very simple. We don't really have to go into too much detail. It's basically vampire hunters hunting. So basically, the plot is at the beginning of the movie, you find Jack Crow and his gang. He's vampire hunters. They're hunting to kill vampires, and suddenly an ancient vampire returns, who's Valak, and he's looking for this sacred cross. At the same time, the prostitute Katrina, he bites, and she then suddenly has the ability to have the psychic connection with them. And obviously, Jack Crow, you find out throughout the plot of the movie his backstory and why he really hates vampires, and it's because they attacked his family when he was younger and killed his mother and father. Well, killed his mother, but then because his father turned into a vampire, he ended up having to kill his father, and that basically he has nothing but hatred. But then you have, because he is a vampire and he's now he's employed by the Catholic Church to go after them, and it's basically your basic vampire hunter going after the main vampire, the master vampire, and it's like Jack Crow versus Valak and his minions and his team. But like I say, so I'll just go around. So Jedi Granville, what's your thoughts about the plot, and what's your thoughts on the characters?
How can I put it? They're random, but as you say, that it's very simple because, as you say, Jack is very gung ho in what he does. Because that moment when they go to the first nest, and one of his guys says, "I'll do it, boss. Go and unlock the door." He said, "It's my turn." He's basically saying that this is me. This is who I need to do, and he's really like the captain, protecting his guys, making sure to say, if something happens to me, y'all take over. Y'all do what y'all got to do. But he pretty much, lets them know it's like, I'm into this, and I mean, y'all might not know exactly what I'm feeling right now, but when it gets involved with what he's doing, it shows how dedicated he is, and that's why anybody else that's with him, he's like, just make sure that you keep your nose to the grindstone and don't mess this up. And it's like I say, his character is a little over the top because he does have some jokes and everything, but I feel that's something to keep him from leaning back and reason why he is a vampire hunter, But like him and like here Katrina, it was a surprise to see one of the side characters become a main character involved in this, and then the rest of his crew gets pretty much slaughtered. I wasn't expecting all that, but when you find out why Malik knows Jack's name, it's like I won't say out loud, I won't say it right now, but the fact that he gets outed by someone, it's like, wow, that's wretched. But it's it just shows, like I say, it's a simple plot twist, but it's a simple plot, but I think it carries well enough to say you can follow it, and where it goes, you don't know where it's going to go, because last Tony was saying, the way it ends, it's like it's kind of leaves it kind of ambiguous a little bit.
This as well was the best death for me, right at the beginning.
Yeah, this movie does have some really good gore effects as well.
Definitely. Anthony Jordan, what's your thoughts on the movie and the character arcs throughout the movie?
I thought it was pretty good. One of the things I particularly liked is the relationship between the Padre and James Woods, how it starts off antagonistic and he starts earning his respect throughout the movie. And then when we find out what the cross is for, which I'm not going to say, but there's a point where they get betrayed by someone, and it's the Padre that shoots them. And
Yeah.
then Valak, who for his origin, he might just as well be Dracula. And this was
Yes.
one of my favorite scenes. The Padre cocks the shotgun and grabs the trigger and points it at him, and Valak just takes the torch and he's going to burn James Woods' character because he's like, it's basically, so you kill yourself, I kill him. I still got the cross. Eventually, I'll get another crusader that'll qualify as the sacrifice, and I'll get what I want. And he's counting on the Padre wanting to give in. So you do get the great character moments. I do think the Padre definitely had the best character arc in this,
Yes.
as well as the two best friends, and the one gets bit by the girl, and he's slowly turning into a vampire, but he's still doing everything he can to help the cause before he turns. It's an underrated John Carpenter movie. I know this wasn't
Definitely.
received as a good movie back in the day, but I've always liked it.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. And like you say, it's a shame it doesn't get like the kind of recognition like Dusk Till Dawn does for being like a vampire western action film, because it does have amazing action, it has amazing, gore effects, but like you say, it has true story arcs throughout. Each character has their own journey throughout, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, which is what I thoroughly enjoyed about it. Daniel Miller.
Right, now this one, I like this one for what it is. Granted, it's not one of Carpenter's best, but you can tell that it does have a lot of merit going, and a lot of strength going for it as well. It has some great gore effects, has a pretty good soundtrack as well, and also has one of my favorite action scenes, which is scenes where the vampires, when they get the cross, they attack the missionary, and it's just complete carnage. All these monks are just being annihilated left, right, and center. In the middle of it all, you have the lead vampire just walking through all the carnage to get to the cross. Some of the characters, as Walter said, they're simple, but they're also crazy, and I actually like that, especially the lead vampire hunter, the James Woods character. And I also like how his connection, as Anthony said, with the Padre starts off as antagonistic or as rivalry, but then later on, through the banter and the occasional pulling and pushing between them, they start to have more of a brothers in arms kind of thing going on.
Yeah, definitely. And Sci-Fi's returned. So
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what the hell happened. Sorry.
You don't need to apologize. Just glad to have you back. Your turns next. Just want your overall thoughts on what you think about the story of John Carpenter's Vampires and like the story arc with the characters.
Yeah, well, what I heard from all of you guys, like I said, I hadn't watched it. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but it seems like it's, like I said, it seems like a decent vampire film. And then, James Woods has always been a good actor, and a lot of the other people, like, Daniel Baldwin. I mean, like, it's typically bikers that are, to me, it seems like they're typically bikers that are vampire hunters. So, but it's like, it's the characters all have their part to play. But I have to agree with Anthony Jordan. It's not one of John Carpenter's best films, but it's not like horrible,
Yes, definitely. Mr. Tony of the Dead.
What's the question?
So, what's your overall thoughts on the story arc in the
overall?
characters? Like,
I
what do you think of the story and like the different in the characters themselves?
Oh, I like the story. I like the whole meaning behind the cross, like what they plan to do. I like that it's like the first vampire and like how like the thing went wrong and that's why it started. I like that. Like it's a little different. It's like they look at it as more of like a virus, like they need to cure it. I love the first cast of characters. I think they're pretty crappy vampire hunters, to be honest. Like if that guy's been doing that and he opens the door like that, like come on, El Scorpio, let's go. You got El Scorpio in the gang. You have the guy who doesn't like the cigarette the whole time and just hangs out of his mouth. And you have Shang Tsung on there. You got James Woods.
Yes.
And you have a Baldwin. And you got a priest that like has a sense of humor. And then you have other guys.
Thomas Rosales.
What's that?
Yeah, he was from Sanford and Son, believe it or not.
Yeah, including Jurassic Park, Lost World, and the second Tremors movie, among countless others.
Oh.
In fairness to the hunters, though, it is established that you can't kill a master at night.
No, I'm talking about even like the first ones that come at them. It's like they're like stab her, and then just like they have those big and they miss. It's like, oh, come on, guys. But like I like the whole crossbow thing and pulling them out into the sun. That's pretty cool. Like they were just a cool cast of characters, and like Dan said, like the gore in this is like really good. The practical effects are awesome. Like I said, that first scene at the hotel is great.
I love that scene.
Yeah, like just like the door opens. Whoop. I also like that they're not in coffins. I think it's neat that they're in the dirt. I would actually have liked to seen them dig. You just see them come out. I would like to see them dig and then cover themselves.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Definitely.
But I also like too how Montoya got bit. And then like he covered it up, but then like in the beginning when he first met her and everything, he treated her like crap, and then as soon as he like you could see as he's turning more and more, he's like nicer and nicer to her, and he's like, come on, baby, it's like that's technically his master, now.
Yeah,
so he's like
definitely,
but yeah, I think the coolest looking vampire was the chick that threw the big priest up against the wall. And
against the wall, yeah.
She looked awesome. I like the movie, man.
That particular scene I featured in the intro.
Yeah,
right
her
at the beginning.
that scene. Yeah.
So yeah, that's particularly why I picked that clip, because I, like yourself, I thought it was a really well crafted scene, and it really showed you the power of the vampires within this film.
Yep.
Yeah, the way she had the more bluishly gray colored skin, I wonder, was that like a little nod to the original Dawn of the Dead?
Potentially,
maybe.
Or could have been a throwback to Nosferatu.
I just had a
Nosferatu has
question.
a very pale skin.
Yeah.
I just had a question though. Now that I think about it, like what Tony was mentioning, it's like, do you think this film was to be taken absolutely seriously?
A part
by
of
the
his
actors?
things, yes. But then I also think any film that tries to go serious, they always have to add some sort of dry humor, some dark comedy. And I think that's why they cast James Woods. And the fact that, like you say, his story arc in it, where he's got a very serious story arc, but he brings humor along. Like he does a lot of, erection jokes. Are you getting wood?
I was gonna
stuff. There's a lot of that going on throughout the course of the movie.
Yeah.
Especially at especially at the end when he's talking to the priest. Stuff like that.
One-liner.
So I think that was like the shtick throughout the movie to try and bring some humor.
Like one-liners, like a lot of one-liners.
Yeah, Mr. Jake Hall is in the. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Jake Hall. Of course, Mr. DJ Anubis was with us as well. You got Wood Pedro, which you've
Padre.
Padre. It's the fucking light man from this thing. I can't see.
Computer.
Like, I can't see. The light is so bright.
I feel like I'm in the remake of the Poltergeist. Enter the light, Carrie. Enter the light.
Yes.
Don't talk about that movie.
Yeah,
But you
yeah,
realize that this movie, the way it's set, as you say, it's kind of a Western feel. That's probably why it's
Yes.
set down the South, because it's more Spanish feel if you think about it, and everything. That's probably why it feels so, like I say, Western wise, and because it's in the desert, it's in the mountain region, and I like that it's in that kind of area because you don't usually see vampires being portrayed in that setting. Usually, it's in a cold, dark, or kind of atmosphere like in the city or some kind of castle. But here it's like open area and it's in a desert like stuff. And I think that's a good change of pace for this kind of story anyway.
Yes. But that one last thing, we'll rate it. So we'll do it the other way around. We'll go from the bottom to the top. Mr. Tony the Dead, how would you rate John Carpenter's Vampires?
Out of 5 or 10? How do you do it?
I do 1 to 10. But
1 to 10? Oh, well, I would say it's probably about a 7. A comfortable 7 there. I think that's fair. I really enjoy it.
I do.
I was glad to revisit it again. It actually made me open up my Vampires copy and watch it. So I watched that. But it was good to revisit it, and 7 is, I think, a fair number for it.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sci-Fi Sentry.
Oh man, shit! I didn't even get a chance to watch it, but when you guys told me, you guys told me details. You guys telling me details. I mean, I'll be like, wow. I mean, I don't think I got too into it. I don't think I got too into it when I saw it back then. So I'll just say, as far as giving it a rating, I'll give it a 6.
That's fair. Mr. Daniel Miller.
I'm gonna go with what Tony said, and I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10. Not one of Carpenter's best, admittedly, but it is not one of his worst either, and it has some really fantastic moments. I mean, there's really a lot to admire from this movie, from the cinematography to the acting, for the most part, to the production design and the gore effects as well. Especially how the prop department designed some of the vampire hunting weapons, like the crossbow.
Yes.
Yes. If you're curious about the movie, I recommend it to anyone. Watch it; you won't be disappointed.
Yes. And what did you rate it?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Yeah. Mr. Anthony Jordan.
The 7 out of 10 too. It's not one of John Carpenter's best. It's far from his worst. It's not one of the best vampire movies, but it's also far from the worst. It's got a great cast with great chemistry together, and it's a fun time. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, and I think it sticks the landing.
Yeah. Mr. Walter Ross.
Well, I gotta be like 7 all the way to heaven. I mean, this movie is. It's like I say, it's not John Carpenter's worst, but it's not his best either. I mean, if I had to say his best, I have to say The Thing, but that's for another live chat, whatever we do.
I second that.
No, this film is, like I say, it's very entertaining. It's like I say, it's not John Carpenter's best, but it's worth a watch. You can get into it and you can actually follow it, and you won't be disappointed. And as Anthony mentioned, it's not the best vampire film I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the worst. I've seen some worse ones, and they're like,
I 100% agree. 7 for me as well. I loved the character development of all the characters. I don't think there's a weak character in this. The story's simple. It has a simple kind of good versus evil kind of plot. I love the backstory of Valak, which we don't want to spoil, but how it's all connected back to the church in some way. And I love James Wood's character, Jack Crow, who has a real legitimate reason why to, hate vampires, and a real legitimate reason why he became a vampire hunter. So for me personally, 7 out of 10 is a very fair rating for this. But since we've already talked about one kind of vampire western movie, we might as well talk about the next one that's very similar but has a bigger budget and was done incredibly well. And we're talking about Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, baby.
So Dusk Till Dawn, is an amazing movie. So let's quickly look at Dusk Till Dawn before we get into it. So obviously, John Carpenter's Vampires, I do believe, was inspired by this because, that came out in 1998. But Dusk Till Dawn came out in 1996. So, From Dusk Till Dawn is a 1996 American action horror film directed by Robert Rodriguez, written by Quentin Tarantino, from a concept and story by Robert Kurtzman, starring Harvey Keitel, George Clooney, Tarantino, Ernest Liu, and Juliette Lewis. The plot follows a pair of American criminal brothers who take a family as hostages and in order to cross into the Mexico border. But ultimately find themselves trapped in a saloon defending against a horde of vampires. And the one thing I will love about this is I love the name of the saloon, the Titty Twisters.
Yep.
Now that for me, I always laugh when I hear that, the Titty Twisters.
Hey, you want to know the funny thing for the television edit? They call it the kitty twister, which doesn't really help much because you can go about saying so many iterations with that. It seems like if you left it kitty, you'll be okay, but it says kitty in the television version. I'm like, oh my god,
Television makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Yes. So we'll start from the bottom to the top again. Mr. Tony the Dead, your first interactions with Dusk Till Dawn.
Again, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Like I used to see movies right when they came out. I don't think I saw it in the theater, but all I remember is the first time I ever saw it, I liked it, and every time after that I've watched it, I've felt the same way. I loved it. Now that I'm older, like I noticed more things, or I'm more in like, you just like kind of pick up on things differently when you're older. This is one that still stayed with me. Like I might be the only one here, but I love Quentin Tarantino in this, and his brother. I like that. I totally agree with what you were saying earlier, Kevin, with if his George Clooney's character and James Wood would meet up, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Like that. There's a movie right there that's nobody's thought of, and like they're something new.
universe.
Yeah, like that would be great. But
I just
Clooney
feel like
is awesome in this.
Yeah, I just feel like them particular characters are in the same world.
Yeah, and he's traveling from America into Mexico, and they're like in Mexico, so why couldn't they meet up?
Yeah,
that's the and I'm sure there's other titty twister kind of bars out there, and maybe they meet at one of those.
Well, there was a few in Romania.
Oh, well, there you go.
Wow, really?
And like, look at and the whole cast is is awesome. Like everybody in this movie, it has gore, some comedy. Like they're actually pretty scary looking. These vampires, they're young, Danny Trejo and everything. Like, it's just
Tom Savini.
Tom Savini. It's just like everything. I don't know. I can't really say anything bad about it. It's even for 1996, the graphics, like they're changing and stuff. It was cool and creepy. Love the bar, the atmosphere. I like movies where it kind of takes place in like one place.
Yeah.
like like that, and they can make a whole movie out of it. Like, but yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, I highly recommend the movie. Again, I can't say anything bad about this. I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't own it, which I thought I did, but
wow, that's a shock, Tony.
I swear I did. I thought I did have it because I'm like, how did I watch it the other day? Like last time I saw it, I think it must have been on Hulu, and it was for free, and then it went away. But now I want to get it with the sequels on it. There's like
I was going to
Blu-ray out
say,
there.
would you buy just the original, or would you also buy the sequel?
No, I'd get the sequels because even though the second one's not very good, the third one is. So
See, I've only seen one of the sequels, and I can remember not liking it at all. So I don't know if that must have been the second one.
yeah, the
I
second
think
one's
it
like
was. I think it
like
was
a-
the second one because I don't think the third one had come out yet.
well, the
Was
second
it a
one
bank
is like
robbery type movie?
bank robbery, and the
Mhm.
third one was kind of like a
Yeah,
prequel.
that's it. I fucking hated the second one.
Yeah.
No, our luck, because Anubis always goes against us. He probably fucking loved the second
No,
one.
he's right.
Dusk,
Like,
3 and 2.
It was okay, but like compared to the third one, it's not. It's cool.
Yeah, but
yeah.
what's he put now?
It's the
3 is the origin story of Satanica Pandemonium. That's
I don't think I've seen the third one, so that potentially could be. Even though we're reviewing the original, I wouldn't mind going back and doing a franchise discussion, but do the 3 films and talk about the television show. Because I heard the television show, the first couple of seasons was really good. Then I don't know. Then I don't know what happened after that. I don't know if did it last 3 seasons.
Was it 3? I thought it. I didn't actually. I only watched the first episode, and it's pretty much just like the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I love Harvey. Yeah, Harvey Keitel. I like him as like
actor.
he's
Phenomenal.
great. He's great in everything. Like I've seen him in, and like him and his family and their story, and then the brother's story. Like just that opening scene with the priest, or I mean, the cop and the owner of the liquor store, convenience store. Like that, it was just so well acted and funny. And then you see them come out of the back, like, and Richie's kind of crazy, like he
is crazy.
Yeah, like I really like it. I can't really say anything bad about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
The band, like that. Good night, everybody. Fuck you. Like, and then they blow up. That's so like, oh my god.
Yeah,
That's a real band too.
Okay.
Next.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what? I mean, we just tongue tied there just a second ago.
No, I was looking at the comments and I was thinking, has he fucking finished?
Hey, if he's talking this much, why didn't he jump in with us?
right.
Nah,
Instead of being all jealous about the movies I have that he don't.
well.
Well, anyway, Mr. Sci-Fi Sentry.
Yeah, I mean it's that one. This one I did watch, not fully the beginning, but what it hold on, give me a second. Okay, sorry. Yeah,
every time I do a fucking live, Alexa always is she got a hard on for me or something?
I don't know, dude. I even lowered the damn freaking volume, and it's still fucking. I can't believe it. But anyway, sorry about that.
What it is, it's that ginger powers activating it. That's what it is.
Yes, Alexa. I know you've got a fucking crush on us, but it's the third time you've interrupted my stream. Go and fuck yourself, bitch. There's only room for one bitch on this live stream, and it's me.
What just happened?
It's a long story, Tony.
It's a long story, man. Yeah. We'll tell you later. we'll tell you later. But yeah, but
Kevin's got
no, but
competition.
I'm like, what happened to Kevin just now?
Oh, it's
Alexa keeps interrupting the live streams. Is what happens.
Oh,
that's
I'm
all.
like looking in the chat. I'm like, I don't see any woman in the chat that you're
no,
cursing
no.
at. I know it's Alexis. Alexa.
Yeah.
She's hearing you, man.
Yeah, Greta, fuck
No,
off,
but
Tony.
no, yeah, but sorry, Kevin. Yeah, man. It's just I don't know why, dude. I keep forgetting. I thought I always turn off the notifications and they turn them off and they turn them off and it's still I don't know.
This
But I'm
is gonna
sorry, man. But
This is gonna make a good blooper reel. Kevin versus Alexa.
Yeah, but who
Yeah,
would win?
man.
Though?
So
No,
Alexa,
but,
play Memory from Cats.
yeah,
you better
but
not, because I'm not gonna get my stream cut off.
Okay, everyone place your bets. Kevin or Alexa, who's gonna win?
I'm
Right.
gonna pull our fucking sockets out the wall.
That's
Pull
debatable.
So anyway, let's crack
No, sorry,
back
man.
on. Let's
Yeah, I'm
crack
sorry,
back
man.
on.
No.
So what's your
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on what is your thought on Dusk Till Dawn sci-fi?
It's a good film, bro. It's a good film, man. I did watch it back in the '90s, and I didn't watch all of it, not from the beginning, but I did see the part where they went to the titty twister, and I agree with a lot of guys so far what you said about the cast, George Clooney, you know, aside from Tarantino because I can't stand his acting, but it's just of course Salma Hayek, Danny Trejo, um, a lot of other great
I
actors.
love Danny. Danny is just fucking awesome. I love him in Machete.
Mm.
Yeah, and I love the part where you know it's based. You know, I'm pretty sure they didn't do it in Mexico, but it represents a part of Mexico. You know, I'm you know Latino and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
Viva Mexico. You know,
yeah.
but it's like but yeah, it's a good film, man. Like Tarantino, you know, some of his movies are good. I mean, I'm not too much of a fan, but I mean, but some of the movies he has made are you know are really good. So I don't take that away from I don't take that away from anybody who makes good stuff. But I'm not the biggest fan. But I mean, some of the stuff he makes is good. I mean, I'll give credit to where credit's due. But no, man. I mean, just the fact of the you know the whole vampire aesthetics they use. It's not all based on just you know capes and black and white and you know like when it started with Universal, the Universal Monsters Dracula, but they everybody makes it so these films everybody takes their own little like how can I put it like their own little formula and they make their own vampires in their own style, their own way, and you
Yeah,
know
that's
George
what I
Clooney.
liked about the film. Like Selma Hayek's vampire was more like a reptile,
Yeah,
and then you had when the guy gets bitten, he looks more like he looks like a bat, like he's got like a proper bat face. So I
yeah,
like that element of the movie how they basically you just adapted to whatever you were turned into.
yeah, and it's really and it's really just one of those. It's a guy movie. It's vampires, but it's a fucking guy film. It's
And he brings that up.
testosterone. It's testosterone. It's fucking you know one liners. George Clooney. Everybody's you know just throwing f bombs here and there, and but it's good. It works. You know what I'm saying? It works. And Salma Hayek, of course, you know I think it wasn't her debut. I don't think it was, but
Nah, it
this
was
is where yeah, this was, but they were all like stars that were up and coming, you know. And then Danny Trejo had already done Desperado, and you know any kind of movie that Danny Trejo, you know, was in, even though he didn't have dialogue, you can tell like he just had that presence, and a lot of people, Clooney, man, Clooney was really good
I
in
love
this one.
Clooney in this. I love Clooney in this. It's one of his best roles. And the
Yeah.
thing that shocked me about this, I know it was written by Quentin Tarantino. I actually thought he directed it. So then when I found out a few years later it was actually Rodriguez that directed, I thought, wow, it kind of makes sense because it also does feel like a Rodriguez film.
Yeah.
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 No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I don't know. I think you can kind of tell, like, like Tony knows. He's he really likes Quentin Tarantino. He can tell that kind of formula when it comes to some of his movies. But
Yeah.
like Rodriguez, you can tell is a little more he's a little more like over the top, and he's more like aggressive, I guess, with certain elements of the films and everything. But
Yeah.
I thought it was really good, man. I thought it was a real good film.
And remember, Tarantino and Rodriguez are good friends anyway. So I mean, they kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
they go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Rodriguez, he also, I don't know, I know it's totally different, but he's just done Thanksgiving, hasn't he?
No,
I
that's
haven't seen that yet.
Oh, that's Eli Roth. That's Eli Roth, I think. No, what did Rodriguez, did he do a film called Tusk?
No, that's
Is that Eli Roth as well?
Smith.
Kevin Smith. Yeah.
No, Rodriguez in 2010 did do the third Predator movie where they're all stranded on the game preserve.
Oh, Predators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
I
So
thought that was
who's the
pretty decent, actually.
I love
is it
Predators.
Eli? Is it Eli Roth that did the Hostel films?
Yes, he did the Hostel.
Yeah, I see. I'm getting him and Rodriguez mixed up.
I could see why.
Yeah,
Actually, I can see that too. I can understand why.
I got them two mixed up.
Eli Roth did the
Thanksgiving.
No. The other thing that's with not Death Proof, but the other one that's on like the Grindhouse.
He did the fake trailer version of Thanksgiving.
Oh,
that's what you're talking about.
But it's not.
What's his name? Others that did fake trailers to like Rob Zombie and
yeah. So Daniel,
Planet Terror. Sorry,
Planet Terror. That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Dusk Till Dawn?
See, I knew about it vaguely when I was in college and we were learning about filmmakers. Tarantino was one of them, and as I was researching Pulp Fiction, I found out through that he was also acted in a movie called Dusk Till Dawn, which was by Robert Rodriguez, because we were introduced to one of his films, which was no, this wasn't. No, I'm getting this confused. Sorry, it was a late night showing on Film 4 of Planet Terror.
Romance.
That was.
Oh, Planet.
Yeah, and then through there, I found a copy of the DVD of Dusk Till Dawn, and I recognized the two names Tarantino and Rodriguez on the credits on the back.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, I watched it, and it was genuinely not what I had expected with the little of it that I'd known, which is just a basic outline. A group of two criminals take hostages, go to a bar, and they meet all sorts like truckers and gangsters, and they're stuck there until dawn, basically. And seeing it from that angle, it makes me think of, if aliens is truck drivers in space, then this is basically outlaws meets vampires.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was actually really good. Had a good opening soundtrack for the opening credits when we see the two brothers driving in the desert with the hostage in the trunk of the car. Then it got really great when they actually reached the Titty Twister bar, where they had this really good set design for the bar, at least I thought, for the location. And seeing all of the recognizable actors like Danny Trejo and Tom Savini, who also I have to say, is very well known for doing gore effects, especially on Day of the Dead and some of the Friday the 13th movies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was genuinely surprised by how the vampires looked in this movie. Like you were talking about earlier, this one, when I see a desert setting, I immediately think of snakes. That's what one of the vampires in there reminds me of. It reminds a bit like a snake's scale pattern.
Like a
I'm like,
rattlesnake.
yeah. And my
Yeah.
missus is like, holy shit, this is new.
But we
yeah.
do get a snake in this film, actually, briefly.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. But yeah, it was great. I haven't seen it in years. I haven't seen it in a really long time. But yeah, I've been meaning to rewatch it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first time I remember seeing it, I liked it. Tarantino's acting. Now, I like Tarantino as a filmmaker, but as an actor, it's not one of his greatest strengths. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned, Daniel, is the fact that each vampire, like I mentioned before, they all have their own characterization, that all have their own look and feel. And it's very weird that this morning, like earlier today, me and Anthony Jordan did a film review of Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter with DJ Anubis for his channel, as one of the reviews on there. And the one thing, the element in that was that it wasn't your stereotypical vampire where the bloodsuckers, they basically sucked the energy out of it so they could remain young. And so that was a different twist and look on vampires, but it also kind of opened the door that there's different types of vampires and different, vampires with different abilities, which might also mean different looks. So the fact that in Dusk Till Dawn, there's vampires that have different unique looks and feels to them, it kind of fits in with what we were talking about within the Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter review. It's very similar kind of feel to it.
So it's like we look at vampires as one thing, but we don't realize that there's different genus of vampires, basically.
That almost sounds like something from Life Force, because those are what you call space vampires. I mean, they're similar to vampires because they just suck the life force, or like say the energy from a person. So that's basically the kind of thing.
I could just imagine Anubis. I could just imagine. But Anthony Jordan, what's your thoughts and stuff on Dusk Till Dawn?
Pretty good movie. I really found myself into like the character interactions. Like, even though I think Quentin Tarantino, he dragged every scene he's in down because he's just not an actor, I do enjoy like some of the scenes with him, like when he kills the first hostage and you see how different him and his brother are, where even though they're both cold-blooded killers, George Clooney's character will only kill when he has to, where his brother kills for fun, and you kind of get that sense that it's like, if you weren't my brother, I'd have killed you a long time ago. And it's also neat. I love how it's two different movies branched together. And again, you kind of got to ask yourself when you watch it, because of how Quentin Tarantino was kicking that one guy when he was down. I don't think the nightly massacre was a regular thing at the bar. Was it like, did they probably take one or two people a night? So it's like, did they make it worse, especially Quentin Tarantino, by kicking that guy while he's down? And
I think they probably do that every night. Like whenever the bar is full, I think they probably do that.
Good.
Yeah.
In the fact that you also have part of the plot, you have a minister who's struggling with his faith because his wife passed away, and that it's his family that gets taken hostage, and George Clooney's just straightforward with him. He's like, look, if you want you and your family to live, just listen to me, just do what I say, stay with us till the morning, and you're free to go. And even though he's still this horrible person, you can tell, again, great character stuff where he's a man of his word. And if he says, you uphold your bargain, I'll uphold my end, and you believe he's going to do that. So just good writing, great characterization. And like everyone else said, each vampire has their own unique personality and look that just really elevated the movie.
Yeah, yeah. One thing about Quentin Tarantino, he may not be a great actor, but he is a great director and he is good at writing. I would be very curious because it's been rumored or it's been talked about that he's got one more film to make. I believe he only wants to make 10. The rumor was he wanted to make an R-rated Star Trek film, and I would have been very curious to see how that would have went. But Mr. Walter Ross, Mr. Jedi Granville, your thoughts on Dusk Till Dawn?
Well, this is the kind of film where I'm glad that it has a twist, like Kitty. It takes you on a ride of where, as Anthony said, it's almost like two films in one. And it starts off with this heist with these two brothers, but ends in a whole hard, slaughter scene at the bar. It's like, okay, that was a turn of 180 on us, and knowing that this film does it because Tarantino is such a good writer. He's one of the few writers out there who just is brilliant in terms of how he writes. Like the words that he writes just flows, and hopefully the people who say them, have the genius of saying them right when they speak it. So how the story develops and how different characters that are seems like side characters, but they still give you this interaction and kind of get that piece of plot going. And the fact that when you watch the film, it's you really get invested with the characters. That's the thing, see, because when unfortunately some of them die, and I'm not going to say who does, but when some of them die, it's just like, man, they couldn't have lived, they couldn't have made it out of here, But the fact that when it happens, you realize, like, okay, they had an arc to themselves, and like I say, who lives and who dies is just something that makes you realize, like, man, I hate it when they happen, but that shows how invested you are. But that just comes with good writing, because if we did have good writing, it wouldn't work.
Couldn't agree more. Definitely. Great writing is half the battle, I think.
To add on what you were saying earlier, Kevin, about Tarantino doing an R-rated Star Trek movie, I would be curious to see come to fruition his idea for a Halloween movie told in a style similar to Pulp Fiction, where it's non-linear.
Yes. Correct, DJ Anubis. We've done John Carpenter's Vampires is what we started off with, and then we're in the middle of talking about Dusk Till Dawn. And the reason I started with those two particular movies, DJ Anubis, is because they're very similar. They're very much westernized vampire movies set in like a western, the West area, and the plots are very simple. One, it's about good guys versus evil vampires. The second one, of course, is about, like you've mentioned, a priest and his family and these two brothers that just happen to walk into the wrong bar and have to fight their way out to survive. But going back to what you were saying, Daniel, if you'd like to continue.
I just said earlier about what you said about Tarantino doing a R-rated Star Trek movie. I would like to see what he originally envisioned for his Halloween movie, but told in a non-linear style. Like, Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs, where it doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end. It jumps around.
I heard
Yeah.
I heard a brief synopsis of the plot. It doesn't sound like it would have been good because it would have been Michael. It was his pitch for Halloween 6, and it would have been Michael going on a road trip cross country with the Man in Black.
That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting.
Well, if he was to do a, R-rated style Star Trek, I mean, that would make sense because he's done most of the genres that we see in film. He's never done anything sci-fi before. He's done horror. He's done drama. You know, he's done a Western. I have yet to see him do something that's.
Technically, he's done 2 Westerns. Oh.
Really?
What happened? Well, what happened there? I have no clue.
That might have been me. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Flip the script. Very weird.
Yeah, but he's done 2 Westerns.
Yes, he's done 2 Western.
Yes, he has. He's done 2
So
Westerns.
it would be interesting if he touches, and if this was to be his last film that he's going to do, sci-fi would be his opus. I can't say the word. That would be his crown jewel to what he's done in filmmaking. So, like,
yeah.
I'd like to see him do a horror anthology, and then like have all them at the end, like from each story meet up. You know, like Trick or Treat, like they're all connected. Like have them have to save the world or something. I'd like to see that. But like each story would be like in his style, or maybe like 3 different styles.
I could imagine him doing something like that, definitely.
One of them should be like, you know, whether it looks like it's one continuous shot, like Birdman is. It looks like it is, but it's you know, but it looks like that. They should do one like that. I'd like to see him do that.
Yeah, I could see that. But yes, final thoughts on Dusk Till Dawn. We'll just quickly go around. We'll start with Jedi Granville.
This film is. I'm gonna actually give it a 10. You know, I mean, it's just that well made. You know, I mean, true enough, Tarantino's acting is not the best. Honestly, it's never been the best. What I've seen.
Well, good job his character doesn't last too long. That's all.
Yes, and that's the thing. But all in all, the story and the story arcs of the characters are well done. And may I say that if the character of Salma Hayek was able to meet, if I were to meet her, I wouldn't mind her sucking me. You know, so just say that.
Well, that's one Christmas present you would not turn down.
No, that wouldn't turn that down for nothing.
Miss everyone bought their A game.
Yeah. So Tony of the Dead. Sorry, Anthony Jordan.
Both Tonys.
Yes.
I'm older. He should change his name.
Would I change it too? Just one of the 90s gem movies. Great, like neo-western. It was 2 different kinds of movies bridged together. Like everything we've said before, the character interactions, the cast, I'd probably give it a maybe 9.5 out of 10.
Yes.
Nice.
So, Dan Miller.
Okay. Right. I'm going to make this quick, and I'm going to get some shut eye. My thoughts on Dusk Till Dawn. I'd either a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. It is great writing, great directing, great cinematography, really good cast, great production values, and interesting take on the whole vampire appearance. Yes, absolutely. Excuse me. Great, absolutely. There was also the chemistry between the characters. Like, it starts off with a hostage kidnapper relationship between the brothers and the family that they hijack. But then towards the end, George Clooney, he's still a mean-spirited son of a bitch, but toward the end, you do see that lighter side start to come out amidst the chaos.
No.
That's true.
But I like that part with him where she's like, should I save the last few bullets for us? And he's like, no, save them for the next one that tries to bite you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And here we go. We have joining us now, because obviously Mr. Dan Filliman has to be up early tomorrow, so that is a reason why I, wanted to do Dusk Till Dawn and Vampires first, just to give him an opportunity to speak on the first two movies. So with him leaving us, we are going to be joined by Mr. DJ Anubis.
I'm filling in for you, Dan. I got you covered, Professor.
That's
Got you
right.
covered.
Yes, DJ.
Yes.
I think Dan should just stay on and sleep on the video.
You could.
He does
He's good at that. He's actually good at that.
I do it on the group chats all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, you should see
So,
how many times we'll get off group chat and like 2 hours later he'll still be on sleeping.
yes.
That's
So,
dedication, though. That's dedication.
It is.
Yeah.
That is. Yes.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a group chat without Daniel falling asleep or Alexa fucking up my streams. But never mind. Anyway, before you go, Daniel, I just want to quickly ask: did you watch the other two movies?
The other two. Now, yes, the Queen of the Damned. I haven't seen it in full.
Yeah.
This was going back a few years. It was on television. It was a scene. I remember the scene of her walking through the fires and sort of licking blood from her lips, and that was.
Yeah. God rest her soul.
Yeah.
Poor Daniel,
Yeah.
he's tired.
So all I'm gonna say is, if you had to rate, just give me your quick ratings of the other two,
Okay, the other two. All
and
right.
then we'll crack on.
Okay, so Queen of the Damned. I would have to say that would be a Queen of the Damned. I'd have to rewatch it again, but from what I remember seeing, because I think it was a pretty decent shot, and if there were any more moments of cinematography like that, I'd probably go for a 6 or a 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what was the other?
Let me in.
Oh, Let Me In. Yeah. Okay, Let Me In. That one doesn't come to mind. No, I don't think I've seen that one, so no comment from me, I'm afraid.
Right, well, no bother, but I tell you what, get yourself an opportunity and check Let Me In, and I think you might be pretty surprised by it.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for joining me on another episode of Taste the Blood. You get some shut eye, and we'll catch you all on the next one.
Yeah.
We will take it.
Peace out, Professor.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Kevin.
Take out, man.
No
Take out.
problem.
Watch
Right.
out for your
Take it
backdrop.
Exactly. The backdrop don't fall on you.
Oh, I'm watching every single door frame and every wall I'm walking by for anything falling. Don't worry.
Well,
Right. Ciao.
Take care.
But
take care.
Right. So
thank
this
God. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, you get it.
Damn.
Look, if you hadn't said it, I would have said it.
So I
I mean,
guess
poor
this
guy was falling asleep. He was falling asleep, man.
Yeah, I was going
was.
to say, he really is falling
You can
asleep.
tell he's tired. You can tell he's tired.
So this is
Poor
where
guy.
the fun begins because we now have DJ Anubis right above
Let
Mr.
the party
Tony of the
start.
Dead.
Right.
So
The
let's
after
see.
party,
He wanted to
baby.
join. He wanted to join because of Queen of the Damned. He wanted to join because of Queen of the Damned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
see
Leah,
how
baby.
long it
Hmm.
takes before I have to referee him and Mr. Tony.
And guess what? He's right on top of Tony, too. Did you notice that?
That's always the case.
Mhm.
That's because he's my bitch.
Oh, you did me dirty.
Switch it up. Okay.
You did me dirty. Now I gotta smell his ass.
He's my bitch.
Oh, there's the one saying that I think it was Anubis and I think it was Kevin who said it when you guys were bantering back and forth and Tony said a new bitch.
New bitch.
I was laughing my ass off, dude.
I didn't catch that the first time.
Well,
I
before
got love for both of you, man. I got love for both of you, but that was funny, man.
And there was the time Anubis cut him out
I'm sorry,
of the
what? Did he say something? I don't know what he said.
That was cold.
How come I don't have control of this too?
Oh, Lord.
because DJ Anubis is the majority time on my channel, my co-host, so he does have special privileges. But I'm still the boss bitch. Don't forget that.
You are the
You're
boss
still the
bitch.
queen bitch. You're still the queen bitch.
Yes. So
You're still the queen bitch.
let's
You're
carry
the
on.
Universe.
Before we move on to the next movie, Walter Ross, did you give your rating?
Yeah, I did. I said, let's say 10. I gave my.
Yeah. Did you give
10.
your
gave it
rating
10.
there, Sci-Fi?
No, but I would just say I'll give it a 8.5.
Right. Tony of the Dead, you give it 10 out of 10, did you not?
Well, I didn't.
I don't think he
feel-
did.
Yeah, I would say probably.
11.
10 for me. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna
Anthony
say
Jordan.
9.5, but I think 10.
Yeah, Anthony Jordan, did you give your rating?
9.5.
And while you're here and you've joined us, DJ Anubis, what's your overall thought on Dusk Till Dawn and what would you rate it?
Love it. Saw it in theaters. I love the combination of action and horror. Like, you can tell it's two different directors approaching it. Definitely a 10 out of 10. And as far as vampires, I give that a 9 out of 10.
And
Yeah,
Salma Hayek. And because of Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek's like a 12.
yeah. So
Also,
of
I
course,
think I'm the only one here that thinks Quentin Tarantino actually was good in, like, his acting was good in this movie. Well,
I
I think it was actually his best.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I
His best.
I
He's
didn't
been
mind
worse.
his acting.
It's always his best when he dies early.
Right?
And he was like the ugliest looking vampire.
Oh God!
Like
yeah.
it looked like
He's not that
his
pretty.
head just like blew up or something. Like they mega mined his head. I love you too, Richie.
Well, he was a monster without, even before he became a vampire, he was a monster. He was nuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So can y'all agree that Salma Hayek just looks I mean, she just looks it.
Yeah.
Easy there, Walter. Easy there, sexual chocolate. Hey, see guys,
man.
Sexual chocolate want out. Like he want out.
So I think with Quentin Tarantino, his worst acting was in, I think it was The Hateful Eight. Or was it The Hateful Eight?
I think you're talking about the probably Django. With the Australian accent, I was like, no, dude, not buying it.
Yes, but anyway, we've talked about Dusk Till Dawn, I think, enough. I'll give it 10 out of 10 for all the same reasons. It's a classic. It still holds up. It still looks good. Great acting, great story. I love kind of the mystery behind it, especially the final scene when you see what was behind the titty twister.
Yeah, it's
That
that,
just
yeah.
Yeah.
that just opened it up on a whole new level when that's
That was one of those blow your mind parts right there.
yes.
That's what you call a
So
gotcha movie.
it made you actually want to know more because
How
it
do we like the fact that Cheech was playing like 3 different characters in the movie?
I didn't mind that at all.
I didn't
No,
either.
it was hilarious.
yes. So let's move on to the next movie, which we've already talked about One Beautiful Vampire Lady, but it's time to talk about the next beautiful vampire lady. We're here to talk about Queen of the Damned.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, Aaliyah is probably one of the most beautiful vampires I've ever seen on screen. I do actually remember going to see this in theaters, and I was blown away because I don't really know her music. Obviously, I'm not really into rap or R&B much, so I didn't really listen to her music, and I didn't really know she was an actress or not. But I was really quite impressed with her performance in this, and I think this was a screen debut as well.
She was in
No.
one movie before that.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, it
Wasn't
was
that a
Romeo.
Jet
It
Li
was
movie?
Romeo Must
Romeo
Die.
Must
It was
Die.
Yeah, yeah.
Romeo
Oh,
Must
Jet
Die.
Li movie. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And just for clarification, she was supposed to be in the second and third Matrix films, but unfortunately, her passing,
Is
had to change.
is that the character that Jaden Smith got? What was that?
No,
name?
it was Glenn, no, not Glenn Plumber. The guy, the black, the ship's flyer.
Niobe.
Yeah,
Niobe.
Niobe. Yeah, he was supposed to play. She was supposed to play that part.
All right. See, I wouldn't have known that either.
That's why
See,
you
like,
got
and I'll say, like, see, now I wanted to add to that, Kevin. Like, Aaliyah was also a lover of all music, so she wasn't just about actual R&B. She loved all kinds of music. She like all kinds of rock, all that stuff. She loved music in general, and she was just an angel, bro. Nobody ever said nothing negative about her. She was kind to her fans. She wasn't a prima donna. She wasn't what do you call those divas? None of that, man. She was a kindred spirit, man.
Yeah, she left this world too soon.
Yeah, I was just about to say, may I rest in peace, Aaliyah. She was a beautiful lady, had the whole, world at her feet, she had it open wide of her. So when her passing happened, it was such a shock and such a tragedy. And she was only 22 years old, which makes it even more heartbreaking. What can we do? At least, our music still recognised. She still left a profound legacy, including with this particular film. So let's talk about it. So Queen of the Damned is a 2002 horror film directed by Michael Raymer from a screenplay by Scott Abbott and Michael Petroni, and based on the 1988 novel The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice, who also did The Vampire Chronicles, which was also leads into Interview with the Vampire. So The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice, the third novel of the book series The Vampire Chronicles, although the film contains many plot elements from the novels in 1985 predecessor The Vampire Test, a standalone sequel to Interview with the Vampire in 1994. The film stars Stuart Townsend, Aaliyah in her final film, Marguerite Moreau, Vincent Perez, and Lena Olin. Townsend and Matthew Newton replaced Tom Cruise and Antonio Banderas in the roles of Lisette and Armorad, respectively. So that has blown me away. So this is actually meant to be a direct sequel to Interview with a Vampire.
There's 15 of those books.
Wow, I did not know that.
I wouldn't have. I honestly wouldn't have got that.
So Antonio Banderas and Tom Cruise, which were in Interview with the Vampire. So these are obviously the exact same characters. That's
Actually,
why
no.
his name's Lestat?
Actually,
yes.
no. I don't know because Armand was Antonio Banderas in the Interview with the
Yeah.
Vampire, and
Oh,
and Lestat was Tom Cruise. But yeah, the Marius is the guy that's played by Vincent Perez in the Queen of the Dam. So yeah, I don't know why they say direct sequel because I didn't see anything directly connected to it. It's more
knew
like
his name.
Actually, I think this was supposed to be a prequel.
Is it?
yeah, because this talks about Lestat's story. This talks about Lestat's background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is before he meets Louis, I think.
yeah.
and the
I
funny
was
thing is,
wrong. I was wrong. There's 13 of the books.
but it took me a minute to
like-
realize this is part of that Anne Rice universe. Though
I
When
did
I
not
heard-
have a clue that this was based on that.
I always just looked at it as a standalone movie.
Mhm.
That's
Well,
what I
I
thought,
do.
too.
Mhm.
I didn't know it was part of it.
So when I went into theaters, apart from recognizing the names and thought, oh well, they've copied the names from a famous book, which was the Anne Rice books, I never realized it was actually connected. So you see, you learn something new every day. So that has literally blown my mind.
And the vampire from Vampires, like he's Valak, and that's
Yeah.
the nun.
Yes.
The nun
Yes.
name.
We had someone mention this could almost be a standalone. I have a friend who he loves the books, and he said that the Queen of the Damned book almost actually works as a standalone.
Oh,
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, you don't have to have the other movie to understand this one.
Mhm.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, this one to me, it's all on its own, man. Like that's why I like it, because it was different, way vastly different. Some things I didn't really wrap around my head, but yeah, it's sorry, Kevin. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Like I've already mentioned how I first watched this film and knew about it. I was interested in it, of course, because it's vampires. But what got me is, I think, a few months prior to this being released in theaters, I seen the actual movie poster. And the movie poster itself, I was blown away by. Like, it's one of the best vampire movie posters out there. That just, when I seen that picture, I thought, oh, a vampire movie with two beautiful looking people on there. I read up about it, but I didn't read, obviously, that much in a depth about it.
I think this is one of the best ones.
Maybe.
I just want to watch the ones that are gothic, not the neighbor.
Well, we
vampire.
did. Well, me, Walter, did do a 3-film review. If you're paying attention to my channel, we did
I'm not.
cover
I
Frightening.
unsubscribed long ago.
So that's fine. That is not a problem. That is not a problem.
What the hell?
I knew you were gonna do that.
Oh my
God! Let his ass off.
Piss off.
Oh man.
Hey, you wanna keep a good show? Then keep me on.
The way he says, don't kick me off.
I knew. Don't kick me off.
Look at your ears turning in Anubis's head.
Oh my god! I'm sorry, Tony. That was perfectly timed. Like, don't kick me off.
I was gonna say.
So yeah.
Oh man.
So anyway, I seen this in theaters when it first come out and loved it. But who remembers their first time when they heard or seen this film? We'll start with Mr. DJ Anubis, since he's just joined us.
First time I rubbed it out to Lee. I mean, watch this film. I didn't see it in theaters. I don't think I got to the theaters to see it. I did see it when it came to television, or HBO, or whatever the fuck it was at the time. But I was immediately impressed with Stuart Townsend. Like, he's actually a better Lestat for me than Tom Cruise was.
I was going
Uh,
to say the same thing since I now know it's actually fucking connected to it.
Yeah.
It's blown me away.
And of course, Aaliyah, like, really impressive because I saw this before I saw Romeo Must Die. So, like, her acting in this was amazing. Like, she did a fantastic job, and she has like such screen presence. It's too bad she passed away at a young age because she would probably would have been a big star.
Such a tragedy. But like I said before, that what's the other film she was in that you've just mentioned? Romeo
Must Die.
I
There's
don't
a
think
Jet
I've
Li.
seen it.
It's
I
good.
don't think.
It's got Jet Li in there, and it's mostly
That's, like I say, that's why I probably thought this was our first debut role. I haven't even heard of that film, so that's something for me to check out as well. And I'm assuming that acting's just as good in that as it is in here.
Yeah.
Do you ever hear that song? It's like, if at first you don't succeed,
try again.
It's
a great. It's the only song I really like from her musically.
Try again. Dust
Yeah.
yourself off and try again. Try again.
Can we pull up the video so I can watch it?
Well, not if you want me screen to be cut off.
Yeah. Does that remind you of something, Anubis? I'm messing with you, bro.
So,
I know.
So, Walter Ross, your first time seeing?
Believe it or not, I actually heard about this film when it was in production before, sadly, the tragedy of Leah. I heard about the production of this film when it was being done, and I didn't really see it until it was on home video, like a year later. And I watched it, but I don't think I really got invested into it as much as I did recently when I rewatched it and realized, like, I really missed some points to this, and that's why I say I wasn't too invested in there when I first saw it. And I was like, I was younger back then, but I was like, why didn't get invested in when I first saw it, when it first came out, but it just didn't catch my interest. But watching it now, I realized that it's got some good points to it, And then when I find out watching it, it's like, oh shit, it's part of that universe with the interview, because it's like I said, it's written by Anne Rice. I was like, oh, how stupid me, because when I heard Lestat's name, I was like, wait a minute, isn't that the character from Interview with a Vampire? It's like, I was like, ding dong, brother, that's the same character from Interview with a Vampire, you dumb shit, so it took me a minute,
Yes. Mr. Tony of the Dead.
First time I saw this, I believe it was probably over my cousin's house. I watched the majority of this stuff kind of over his house and Thursday night drinking and stuff. What year did this come out?
2002.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think we were drinking then because he wasn't old enough, but yeah, I definitely watched it with him though. And I remember it, but I was wrong about things. I thought I remembered something with like blood filling something up, and I'm like, oh, that's not in this. That's something else I'm thinking of. But like, I really couldn't remember except that he was a musician and Aaliyah, But I couldn't remember like anything. So it was almost like rewatching it for me this time. And I heard the name Lestat, like, everybody, and I thought, well, why would they use the same name? And I honestly didn't see the name Anne Rice. I guess I must have not looked at it or something, but like, I like this Lestat, but I still look at him as this Lestat, and like the Tom Cruise is a different one. I know they're supposed to be the same person, but I think they both work. I like both of them. I feel like this movie has some flaws. I think, how like Twilight's broken up into like all those parts. Like, I think this would be a good film to do that, so we can get the background of the elders and her and everything, because I could give a shit about her at the end. And like her, like we're supposed to, oh, this is, you look the same, oh, and it's like I don't know who these people are. I like, why is it so important? And his obsession with her, that bar scene was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
The bar scene's brilliant.
I don't really like that because of the blood they can go into the sunlight. I like the whole fact that that's the one thing that that really kills them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but other than that, I mean, I liked it. I know maybe Anubis probably doesn't like it, but I like the music in it. I don't know if you like all of it.
No, the soundtrack's amazing.
Okay, or maybe Crypt would hate it.
Yeah,
It's
he
like
probably
that.
would.
Yeah, because but I think it's funny how we're supposed to believe he's Jonathan Davis's voice in this.
Well, the reason why is Jonathan was under contract with another label, so he couldn't use his vocals. So he had a hand in the organization, the structure of the music, but he couldn't sing on anything.
He was
But
in
it's
it.
funny
too.
because when you listen to the song "Forsaken," I think that's Draymond singing.
Mm.
It sounds a little like Davis in that song.
Well, if that's the case, they should have did it all with him, because if it wasn't
Well,
bad,
Davis was so passionate about this movie, he wanted to have a bigger part in it. You see him for a split second as he's
Yeah.
giving out flyers, but
Yeah.
outside of that, he wanted to be one of the vampires.
Because I said to myself, is that the dude from the lead singer from Korn? It was like, what? You know, it's like
Yeah.
I was kind of like thrown aback by that. You know?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I was big into the rock. I was big into the rock in that point too. That's why
yeah,
well, I'll let you know. I'm gonna let Tony finish, but I'll let you guys know when I get to it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm the same way. I was into that stuff. I still listen to some of it. I love the look too back then, because 2002 I was 22, and you know,
Excuse me.
Hot Topic. That was like a lot of Hot Topic stuff in this movie. You could tell.
yeah.
I don't know. It was a different.
Well,
look,
it's at
but
the
like,
pinnacle of
it's
new
different.
metal, so
yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty. I think it was a decent movie, but like I said, I wish they could split it into like even 3, or 2-part or 3-part, and get to more background of the other people.
well, I think if they would have had the type of director that did interview, like a little more cleanup, like this is something that you could have said to yourself, well, this could have went straight to the VHS and you wouldn't care. But if it would have had like a better director, like let's just take Coppola. If Coppola would have done this, it would have looked entirely different, but been fleshed out more. You would have had more experience with more deep dives into the characters. It would have been a lot better than this. But it's still a fine film. I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, I like it. But like I said, I don't. Is that like he wakes up and he goes and hears the music in his old place, and he starts singing, and they're like, okay, and he's gonna take him to the top. Is that supposed to be an instant? All of a sudden, they're like famous, or is that supposed to like be time passed and they got?
It's like
famous?
a time skip. I think it's like time skip.
It's like immediate, and I'm like, I hope that's just because they didn't say like 2 months later or something like that. It just like, I guess you're just supposed to think.
I was gonna say, I think you're just supposed to fill in that blank at the
or he.
I was gonna say that.
Or he hypnotized people and they made them famous. I don't
Well,
know.
that's sort of the implication. It's like his voice is so haunting that he was able to take this band that really no one knew anything about and then just put out a single and boom, success. So yeah, in a way, instead of him hypnotizing people, it's more about his voice, and people were like mesmerized by the voice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sci-fi.
Oh yes. Okay. Now, I really like Anubis. I really like this movie. There are some things I would have probably done differently, but I first had my interaction with it. I actually heard a soundtrack. I heard the song on over the radio before I even saw this movie.
Yes.
So I'm like, where's this coming from? And I saw it, and it was the singer from Disturbed, and he, it wasn't Disturbed actually. It was just his voice, but it was it was like maybe a super group kind of thing, or something like that. And they played it, and I heard it. It's like, oh wow! So then there was one time I went to Walmart and I saw it. It was there, and I blind bought it. And I said, well, okay, cool, and then it had the Lestat connection, and then the whole thing though. I As much as I love rock music, like a lot of the soundtrack Orgy, especially Static X. There was so many bands that were on this that were really great, but like when I saw it, like I was kind of like Tony. I was like, wow. So they modernized it, I guess, to try to because new metal was really the thing back then. And I guess since the director wanted to connect it with the new metal scene or new metal, music that was coming out, that to
Yes.
just like, yeah, let's get more of a fan base, let's get more of this, rock is the, new metals is a big wave now. And they went to that point where, he became a rock star and all of this. When I was seeing him in the beginning of it, like Tony, I was like, wow, did he just like, start singing and, found this band and became, one hit wonder, or friggin', like, how do you say it? Like famous overnight. And yeah, it's and Stuart Townsend, I gotta agree. Like Homeboy, man, he would have been up there as a star, but he just, like, I guess the movies or his agents or the movies that he would just, be a part of were just like horrible. But
The
he
League
was,
of
but he,
Extraordinary Gentlemen. I like that movie.
oh yeah, I
But
love that movie. I love that
I
movie.
like I think but he seemed to stick to like similar roles, like period pieces and things like that nature, instead of potentially maybe trying something slightly different. Like
Well,
he,
he
he played.
actually had a series. He did a reboot. I forget who the chick was, but she's married to a basketball player. But the Night Stalker, he was doing that. Kolchak, and that was a good series, but it got cut off short. But that was actually really fun. I was surprised. Like Sentry said, like it's surprising that he didn't become more of what we thought this might have kicked off his career, but it's the choices of stuff that he went. Because I'm a fan of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I love that movie a lot.
Oh, I love that film. I love that film.
Yeah.
No,
Apparently, I'm
well,
sure there's talks of a reboot as well.
but I was gonna say where Kevin was mentioning that Stuart Townsend he was actually going to be Aragorn. He was going to be Aragorn in Lord of the Rings.
I heard that, yes.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
But he was too young. But they said he looked too young, and they needed a person that was more, older and grizzled. That's why they went with Vigo.
Yeah.
So, but no, man, like Stuart Townsend, bro, he had everything. He was good actor, good looking. He's Irish or Scottish or something, and he's an overall good actor. But I mean, just the movies, some of the movies he was in. But I gotta agree with of course with Kevin and with Anubis. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, bro. I don't care how bad people said it was. I enjoyed that movie. I love that movie.
I felt for Sean Connery because it was the last film he starred in, I believe.
Yeah.
And I remember the story that he turned down Gandalf because he just didn't get the material. He didn't get the story.
He didn't get
he just didn't understand why people were fascinated by it.
I'm
so
glad
he turned
he didn't get it
down, and
I'm
then
glad.
and then
To
of
be
course
fair,
it became a huge hit and become, it's going to go down like something like Star Wars. It's always going to be remembered very fondly. So he was gutted because he missed out on another franchise starter for himself. He's had James Bond, he was in Indiana Jones, and then he thought, I think as his career was winding down, I think he decided he wanted to be a part of another major franchise to end his career. And I think because he turned Lord of the Rings down, he then decided to go ahead when he was given the material for, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And the same thing happened. He just didn't understand the material. He didn't understand the character. But he said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I think he got frustrated because, he did this, but it just didn't have the same impact as the Lord of the Rings. And that's when he made the choice to retire.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was
No, he
I'm
was.
kind of. Well, I was
Well,
just gonna say I'm kind of glad that he turned down the role for Gandalf because
Yeah,
I just can't.
that's what I said. I'm glad
I'm
too.
like to see James Bond. I mean, like I say, put him in there. It's like, oh, James Bond is in this. It's like, no, I mean, I could be.
It's
You
just
got to have the character.
Well,
you got to have the.
you know,
shall not pass.
Ian McKellen killed it as Gandalf.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
hell
you know,
yeah.
the funny thing is, we kind of say that all the time, like, I can't really envision it. But you know, I said the same thing about Heath Ledger when I heard he was going to be the Joker. I said, this isn't going to work. And he
Yeah.
went out to be the best fucking Joker I've ever seen in my life. So,
Yes.
you know, you just never know.
Yeah.
I said
Well,
that
tell
about
you-
Tobey Maguire about
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and I was wrong.
Yeah. It was like Michael Keaton when it was announced
Oh.
he was playing
God.
Batman. Everyone was like,
9.
he was like, everyone's too. Oh, he's too small. He doesn't look muscular. Why is he playing Batman? But now everyone wants him back as Batman because
Yeah.
he is.
Except me.
Yeah.
Well,
He's my favorite. He's my favorite Bruce Wayne, but my favorite Batman is actually Ben Affleck's because I like the older, grittier one.
Yeah, I don't like. I like Christian Bale, but I don't like every time he speak. He was
Oh.
screaming for his shit.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's been gargling with concrete and gunpowder for the better
It's
part
like
of a day.
you can take the piss out of like the acting in, you know, some of the films like Quentin Tarantino's acting, like you see. But I just found when he was putting on that voice and he was getting, oh, you know, Dent, you are the face of Gotham. You are the face of Gotham. I make me the villain, and all that. It's like,
Whoa.
Dude,
No,
I
it's-
can't, man.
I thought you were American for a second there. Holy shit.
Dude, you
I was
was killing it right there. Yeah.
just give me the fucking Oscar.
Yeah.
It's because Kevin had to put. It's because Kevin had to connect his balls. he had to reconnect his balls to be able to speak like that.
Yes, they're between me legs, and I'm squeezing tight.
Just a twist.
Can we say though, one of my favorite scenes in Queen of the Damned though is when what is it? Maris is teaching the stat when he first gets turned, like how to hunt and all that stuff, and then they find those gypsies on the beach. And he starts playing the violin, and he just starts ripping it like so fast.
Right.
And his eyes are glowing. I think that's a cool scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what, bro? And I was gonna say before I give it back to the next one, before I get back to Kevin, like the parts of this film, man, were just like what Anubis mentioned, like the way he had to kill the gypsy girl, and then him, like, you know, telling Marius, so we have to live in the shadows, and you know, and what did I become? You know what he even said. We're gonna be alone forever. Like, we're gonna be freaking destined to walk the earth, you know, as in the shadows forever. And he starts to question himself. He starts to think like, oh shit, you know, did I really want this? Like, do I really want this? Because I can't even, you know, I could know a girl for like maybe about an hour, 2 hours, we bang, and then I kill her. It's like, what kind of a life is that? And then
Sounds good
you
to
know,
me.
he starts, yeah, and then and the whole,
First time.
no, the whole, yeah, and then the whole part with learning about Akasha, and then learning about Marius, and see Vincent, what's his name?
Perez?
Vincent Perez did a great job. He did a great job in this film too. I don't know why either, by both, aside from Aaliyah doing a great job. Aaliyah hit it out the park, like we said it, man. For her second film, she embraced the Akasha character, and the way she just like kind of hummed, she danced into the pub, and the way she just moved her body, and like an Egyptian, like, you know, like an Egyptian. So it was like,
And she
and
gave
then
no fucks, man. Those other vampires were like trying to, you know, start shit, and she's like not having it.
It's like,
no, yeah, but well, that's what I'm saying. I just wanted to. That's what I really loved about the film. The rock elements, Lestat. I mean, I just couldn't wrap my head around Lestat being a rock star, though. That was the only part about the story that I was kind of like, you know, I don't think that was a good idea. But as far as, and it wasn't a lot of action. The story grips you because of the Lestat backstory, and then Marius, and then Aaliyah. But like everything else, like the battle, the action, there wasn't much action. And then even the girl, like the protagonist, the girl that like with the red hair or whatever,
Jesse.
it's like
Yeah.
I didn't even want to, like, I mean, yeah, she was pretty and she's this, but I don't even want to know about her. I want to, you know, tell me more about Akasha. Tell me more. Go deeper into Marius, or go deeper into.
That's the director, because it's fine, but this is totally aimed at like the new metal fans and the goth kids, and this is what this movie was aimed at. Because
Yeah, I agree.
if they would have dug deeper, the Costa story was way more interested in anything else in this whole fucking movie.
So basically, this film was, like I say, with the Fright Night and the Lost Boys, which was set in the 80s, and it's geared at that particular time for them particular cars. This was for that particular. That makes sense.
You can make it like a period piece. Like you could kind of call it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Anthony.
Only they kind of sabotaged this film with the director.
Yeah, like it's still a period piece, but I'll give it back to Kevin. But I just wanted to say it's still a period piece. This one is also just like Lost Boys, just like Fright Night, but like or even you know, Salem's Lot. But like this one, like it's just, I loved everything about it. It's just the rock star aspect just threw me off. And but as far as like the film photography, the backgrounds, the gothic theme, yeah, it's totally a period piece. But okay, now I'll give it back to Kevin. Sorry, Kevin.
Right. Well, Anthony, have you given your thoughts on? Well, take it away.
Take it away.
I'm the Sirens. But yeah, I heard about this, like Walter, when it was in pre-production. I had seen an interview with the Vampire maybe a year before I found out about it, and I didn't see it till it premiered on HBO. I didn't remember much of it. I remembered not particularly caring for it, but now that I watched it again, like, I'll agree, like, I kind of would put Stuart Townsend over Tom Cruise as Lestat. Aaliyah hit it out of the park, but I feel like the film's failing was in the direct, and I don't feel the same way about the film either, but I feel like its two biggest failings were not only the director, but that the writing just assumed you knew all these backstories, and you get a lot of stuff thrown at you with no context. And one of the things that like still kind of leaves me scratching my head is in Interview with the Vampire, Lestat's all about, I'm going to give you what I was never given, a choice. And in this one, it's like it feels more like he was given the choice. So it does kind of feel like this doesn't have to be a sequel. It's its own standalone with Lestat. But overall,
I
agree.
Yeah, that's my opinion. Like I say, I've only just discovered this is all connected since reading the information there. But like you see, I've always took it as being its own thing, its own identity. The cast, I think, are great in the roles. There is some issues, like you say, throughout the story or with some of the plot elements. But in all, I just enjoy the performances of Aaliyah, and you know, the chemistry between her and Townsend is great. And like you say, for me, it is just a standalone. So we'll start from the bottom to the top. Give us your ratings. So from up from whatever 0 to 10, what would you think, Anthony Jordan?
Well, I would again. I went from not liking this film to feeling differently about it, so I'm still not sure where I would put it. So I'm just gonna play it safe and put it in the middle at a 5 out of 10, where in the future it could go in either direction.
Wow. Right. Sci-Fi.
Okay, so I'll have to agree with. Well, I just wanted to add to this with what Anthony and Tony had said. Yeah, to me,
See that?
I can differentiate from Townsend and Cruz. Like, Interview with the Vampire was way above, in my opinion, as far as a fully functional film over Queen of the Damned. But Queen of the Damned had elements that I really liked, especially at the point where I was, at that point I was 22 years old and everything like that. But yeah, to me, there's differences. I think they played their own character the way they did in their respective styles or whatever. But I have to give it an 8. No, I just because of the plot story, man. I got to give it an 8.5 because the Rockstar plot it did not go well with me. As much as I love rock and as much as I love, music, that couldn't go out. But aside from that, even some of the actors that were on there, Claudia Black was on there. Another few guys were the people that nobody remembered were on there. I have to give it an 8.5 because I really did enjoy it. I really did like it. Aaliyah was amazing. Townsend was amazing. A lot of it had that gothic feel. It was a vampire movie. You can call it a vampire movie. It's just the plot, as far as Lestat being a rock star, that was the only part that I couldn't say.
I think, like you see, like Anubis said, they did that to fit in with the crowd and a certain audience.
Yeah.
They kind of adapted it to try and stick to a lot of the material from the book and the story, but they also tried to fit into a box for certain audience. So I get that. So 8 out of 10 is a good rating. Mr. Tony, you can give your thoughts and your rating while I let this dog out before she pisses all over me carpet.
Okay. Well, I mean, I said everything. I agree with what everybody said. But yeah, I like Tom Cruise's Lestat more. I wish we could see more of that side of him because from Interview with the Vampire Lestat to this Lestat, it doesn't seem like he would want to do that band thing. I know it's for everybody, but that's makes sense now because I always thought, how could he know the music of today if he just woke up and he's singing good songs like this? I know it's hypnotizing, but I was like, how do you know how they sing and stuff? It's just, I don't know, just something I always thought, but that makes sense now.
No, it does. I agree with you. It does because it's like I said, I love, like Anubis knows, I love music. Like I love rock music, and Walter knows, everyone knows I love music. But that I mean, I didn't hate it. I just couldn't. I couldn't see it. I was like, Lestat, like being a rock star, like he was this aristocratic blue blood, freaking plantation owner and shit. Back in the first Interview with the Vampire, but this one's totally different.
I'll say that though, even though I prefer his performance, I will say the writing around the Tom Cruise character was better written. I'm just talking actor versus actor, not writing and actor versus writing and actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
so what had you rated it, Tony?
I didn't get to it yet.
All right.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
You bitch.
Excuse me?
Shut up, Alexa.
Alexa, shut the dog up.
Right.
Hey, don't fucking tell my dog to shut the fuck up, or I'll shut you the
I
fuck
thought that
up.
was Kevin's dog. Never
Oh
mind.
no.
No,
then
Penny's
mute your
outside.
fucking mic because your dog is annoying.
Oh, fuck you! Don't fucking tell my fucking dog to shut up, bitch. I'll fucking
fucking
kick your
circle.
ass.
Piss off, bitch.
This is
Sorry.
the most
Apologize.
insulting stream I've ever been on.
Yeah.
I
apologize.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no.
right. That's what I thought.
Fuck you, motherfucker! I'll kick your fucking fat ass.
Hey, PHAT.
Now we starting some shit down.
Now he's getting personal. He's calling me.
Oh
fat.
God, no, we just having fun.
Oh no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Do you know what fat means there, Tony?
Yeah,
Pretty hot and
PHAT.
tasty. Pretty hot and tasty.
Yeah.
I like it like that.
I was gonna just say it's a 6 for me.
Right.
I would like to see this a longer expanded. Somebody redo this movie and make it where we want to know more about the elders and stuff too. You know, because they just all of a sudden come, and the one of them looks like he could have been in the band.
Mm.
The blonde one, like I don't even know any of them. Like I don't have any passion for them dying. Like I want to know more. So I think because of that, yes, probably a 6. It's not a bad movie. I'm glad I rewatched it, but I forgot about a lot of it. So yeah. But like Jordan Movies and Gaming says, maybe in the future that'll change. The number of
very
change.
true.
Yeah.
Like certain films that I've hated in the past. Not that I think that they're great movies, but I learned to respect them more through time. Doesn't mean I still like them or like them more. I've just gained a bit more respect for them. Mr. Anthony Jordan.
He already did it.
Here we go.
You're on Jedi now.
Yeah,
It's
Sean
well,
Bean now.
yeah.
You don't mind being on me, right?
Don't forget.
What?
Diego. Hey. You just walked into that one, boyo.
No, I made it walk into that one. That's the thing. That's why I said it. Anyway, no, let me get.
Do you want us
before
to
this go somewhere else? Okay.
Let's get back to the point.
Yeah, the point is I'm kind of like with Tony, I mean, when I first saw this film, it just seemed unforgettable, but rewatching it, I realized it had elements in there that I feel that served a second look, and I feel like, that's the thing. This film came out at a time where, new wave rock and everything, was popular. And like I say, if you set a film that's set in the time that it was coming out, that's what they're going to use. That's what's popular for the time. That's what they're going to do. I mean, every film that's done this, if it's not period piece, they're going to do exactly what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be period piece. But this was set in the year that it came out. And like I say, what was popular at that time, they just threw it in there. And I just wish that we could have invested in the story with the characters more. But as I say, that's what's kind of damaging with film, that, whatever's popular with the time, you kind of lose the essence of what you're trying to say with character and story. And I just wish this film could have done a little bit better. I mean, it's not bad. It's actually a pretty decent film, but I feel that it lost some brownie points when it did that, saying that, hey, Lestat is a rock star. He's a magician, and I'm like, okay, maybe, but I don't know. I couldn't really invest in that. But anyway, to give it a rating, I'll give it a 7. I'll give it at least a 7. It's not bad, but it could have been better.
Yeah, DJ Anubis.
To compare this to Interview is really a disservice to the film, because they both approach Lestat differently. So Interview is a far more in-depth look at Lestat's loneliness, his striving to have a companion. Queen of the Dam is actually more of like a small blip on the Lestat timeline. It's basically this little chapter that's taken out in his life where he wakes up, is thralled by music. Music is something that he's very, very much been into, but he's been kind of lost that musical journey until now. Now the rock is here and he's like enthralled by it. So now he's interested. And not only just that, but he has a message for the vampires. He's like, he wants to come out. He wants people to know. It's one of the things that he hated about his master Maris, is that they had to hide all the time. That's something that he didn't want to do. So take that in consideration, along with the budgets and the writers of said films. And it's like, for what this is, it's very enjoyable. Like I have a lot of fun with this film. I don't take it too seriously because it's not meant to be. It's like, again, it's just a blip on Lestat's timeline of life. If we try to pretend that it's like some massive part of his lifestyle, it's not. This is like something you would find in a book where it's maybe a chapter and that's it. The soundtrack, everything we talked about, like the looks and what they were driving for, obviously at the time, try to get the teenagers in the fucking theater. That's what it was all about. But if I approach both Interview and this film, it's always going to be differently. So Interview is great for a lot of different reasons. That this is great for a lot of different reasons. So to me, and again, it's all subjective. I have a lot of fun with this. I still give it a 9 out of 10. I can sit there and watch this at any time and not get bored.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No, that makes
definitely.
that. I
can
agree.
100% agree with that. Yes. As for me, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. Just I did enjoy this. If I like I say, I enjoyed it because I just think it's a good story. I liked it for the acting, the chemistry between Aaliyah and Townsend, and I love the score, the music score. Like you see, you can't compare it to Interview with a Vampire. I would never have said it was on that level. Before I knew that, before reading what I had read before, I wouldn't even thought they were connected, and I never ever thought it was near what Interview was. But I still enjoyed it for it was I just thought it was a standalone, decent vampire film for its time. So, yes, very well done. So, let's talk about the last movie in The Taste the Blood. Now, this one for me is the best of the bunch, for me personally. I really enjoy this movie. It's a movie that is a remake, which, the original of this came out only 2 years prior, which was in 2008, I believe. And then this one then came out in 2010. And it is I do believe Anubis has seen both versions of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he was the one who mentioned the original version. I didn't know that.
Yes. Like I've seen both, and I believe you believe with these particular films, you believe that the both is equally as good as one another.
Yep.
I've never watched the other one. I've only ever seen this one.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen this one. I haven't seen these movies. I haven't seen either one of them at all.
Yeah, well, this is called Let Me In. So let's talk a little bit about Let Me In. So let's have a look. Let Me In. So, Let Me In is a 2010 romantic horror film written and directed by Matt Reeves, which, as you know, he's went on to great things. He's went on to do, obviously, The Batman. He did, I believe, Cloverfield as well. So it's a remake of a 2008 Swedish film, Let the Right One In, which was based on the 2004 novel of the same name. The film stars Cody Smith McPhee, Chloe Grace Moretz, Elias Cortez, and Richard Jenkins. The plot follows a bullied 12-year-old boy who befriends and develops a romantic relationship with a child vampire girl in Los Alamos, New Mexico, during the early 1980s. So, Anubis, since you know more about the first one, obviously the original and the remake, would you like to start us off with this amazing movie?
Yeah, I mean, they're both very much in line with one another. I actually saw the original first. But obviously, you've got a young boy who is being bullied at school, and, they're kind of living in downtrodden neighborhoods, so they're not very rich or anything. So, and of course, the scenery, I think, in both is the same. It's wintertime, very cold. So it gives you this atmosphere just in the neighborhood that's very cold and dark. So it's like automatically you're kind of already in the vibe with what's going on in the film. And so he ends up befriending a young girl who is just kind of chatting away with him. And then, they build this bond together. And initially, she's kind of standoffish. She doesn't really want to be friends with anybody because obviously she's a vampire. So not known to anyone else, including the boy. So, but he kind of continues to kind of push the friendship, and they build this relationship with one another, even to a point where later on he's being attacked by these guys, and I guess we'll kind of get to that when you want to talk about it, but it doesn't end well for them in any way. But I love everything about this film because it is kind of a romance. It's like it's a very kid romance. It's not like you're going to see a lot of kissing or anything like this. It's just these young kids who build this bond, and of course she's immortal, so she's never going to get older than what she is. I think she has like either a father or some sort of guardian that watches over her, and he's the one that kind of goes out to get her the food that she needs daily until he ends up losing his life at some point. But I think one of my favorite parts about the film is really just the end, is when they're on a train and they're leaving. And of course, she has to stay within like it's almost like this chest or a chest box where she's, of course, got to stay out of sunlight because it will kill her. But they have like this code that they use to knock, to talk to each other while he's kind of watching over her as they're traveling by day, which I thought was kind of cool. So that's one of those tender moments in the film that I really liked about it, but it shares from both films very similar.
It's very much like we mentioned, we did The Lost Boys the other day, and Walter kept mentioning it's like a coming of age story with vampires. I think this too is very similar to that. It's like a story about these young people that are, one's being bullied and is learning how to, overcome it all, and the girl is like an outcast because she is a vampire, and she knows she's a vampire, and she knows she struggles to bond with people and let people in because obviously she knows they're going to get, their lives are going to change, they're going to get older, they're going to progress, where she's basically stuck in limbo.
The name really has a double meaning.
Yes, definitely does. And I would recommend this to anybody. Like, obviously, Sci-Fi, you haven't seen this. Now, I think if you've seen this, I think you would really, really enjoy it and really enjoy the story, and the fact that it's about two people that feel like they don't fit into the world that they're in, and then they have this common kind of ground with one another. Which
I really like Moretz too as an actress. I think she has a knack for horror. So every time she's in something, I tend to watch it.
Yeah, even
how old is this film? How old is this film?
2010.
But it's based on the one that came out. It's basically a remake of the one that came out in 2008.
Yeah.
And it was purchased, like how every time they do like a big hit, like for example, Train to Busan, soon as that came out and was huge, they were like, right, we need to make the American version. Basically, it was the same situation with this film. It was quite a big success in Sweden. It's a Swedish film that it got the rights bought to it, but then the difference is where most remakes of like international films, when are not really successful, this is for me just as good as the original, which is a rare thing to find.
The author even said something to the extent both versions.
Yo.
Oh, what's up, Omni?
Omni's in the house. Omni's dog coming soon.
What is up, Omni? Yeah, because I saw with the clips you put in that Chloe is on this one, or Chloe Grace,
who was kicking Kick-Ass.
yeah, I saw her, and I was like, okay, so yeah, so I thought this was a more modern film.
Hmm.
I thought it was like, I mean, not like, I mean, no, two. I know the tens is still modern, but I thought it was like maybe like a few, like maybe 2014 or 2015 or something like that. But
Hmm.
I've never heard of this film. Never heard of even the first one.
Hmm. Yeah, there's some great horror elements in this. The plot does kind of get messy and twisty, like Anubis was saying. There's even a scene where someone gets abducted and they end up putting his blood into a jar, and only to be accidentally spilt, and Abby ends up starving. She ends up attacking the neighbor and drinks his blood, killing him, and
Well,
Thomas
I don't
Thomas
mean to
ends
cut you
up
off, but he did stare at the bottle spilling out.
yeah.
He could have
Yeah.
ran and stopped it. She could have had something.
Yeah, save
Yeah.
some of it.
Right.
Stop with it, yeah.
Yeah, but overall, obviously, Sci-Fi hasn't seen it. Obviously me and Anubis has. Walter, did you watch this?
Yeah, I recently watched it, and
All
I
right,
knew
so
about. Yeah,
yeah,
I knew about the film, but I just never watched it. I mean, and believe it or not, this is my first introduction to who Chloe was, because I never heard of this particular actress. But seeing how when she was in various films coming up, I was like, this girl got some range, she's pretty talented. But
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
having watched it for the first time, I realized, and then as I was saying, I mean, I didn't realize it was set in the past in terms of the 80s. It's like, okay, this is kind of a familiar territory. But what's surprising me about the film, how relatable it really was for me, because I'm somebody who used to get bullied back in the day, around school and everything, but also double hit to the throat. He's a person who's dealing with a divorce. He's dealing with parents divorcing. I dealt with that myself, and see, those things would make someone kind of isolate themselves from certain things, like this character. And he's trying to find something that he can say, have a hold on to be, living, but we're dealing with the parents, because there's a scene where he talks to his father, but his father's kind of like, kind of backed him down, kind of, just not too interested in what he's saying, and it's like he needs his father right then and there, but he's just doesn't give him the thing that he needs, and it's like, wow, this. My parents ain't doing jack shit for me, And then, like I say, with the bullies, there's that one particular bully that, I mean, this dude, he's almost like a vampire in himself.
He would have grown up to be a serial killer.
He would have, but that's the thing. It's like these elements are making this person into something, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't want, because you see him when he has his knife and he's saying, "You're a little girl. You want to be a little girl." It's like that works on a person. And for me, I'm not trying to get too personal with it, but I'm just saying that it can make you or break you depending on how you take whatever element is thrown at you, and kind of decide with. But fortunately for me, I was able to, not become a serial killer. I became somebody who was pretty much a genuine person, and didn't let myself get caught up with anything that would make me hurt someone just because they hurt me. But seeing this character in this film, it was a building.
Let me just say real quick, man. Now I know what Kevin meant, that if I did see this film, that I would probably be intrigued by it.
I definitely think you would have a connection to it, like Walter did.
Because that's the thing. Like, bullying is one thing I know, but the thing is, like, when I try to get bullied, I always fought back, and I always, like, I was getting in trouble for beating the shit out of bullies, and I was always getting in trouble. Parents had to be called all the time, and And I wanted to tell my parents what was going on, but to me at that point in time, when you grew up in the 90s and Latino X, and we didn't want to be snitches, so I dealt with it on my own. And that's why I always was, when it comes to like stuff about bullying, like when I was a coach working for the city and teaching kids and all that stuff, like yeah, that's one thing I understand. And and it sucks for any kind of person being bullied, but I was the type of person, bro, where I would, when the bad thing about me is that when I beat up one bully, two bullies, three bullies, two or three would replace those.
Yes.
So I was
like
always like,
It's like a vicious
yeah.
cycle.
Yeah, and that's why I became a fighter. That's why I got into boxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, and that's why I was a bouncer, and I was always getting into fights, freaking street fights, all that stuff, competing, smoker fights. So, but yeah, it's like it does like what Anthony said, like that kind of bullying can make somebody turn somebody into someone that they don't want to become. And
I was saying
me.
bully in the movie was going to be a serial killer when he grew
Oh,
up.
okay. Well, yeah. Well, either way, like bullying can
Yeah.
take, depending on the person, bullying can take a toll mentally and make people do stupid things that they never would normally do. But I see from that point of view that I loved fighting. I used to hate fighting when I was a kid. Being bullied, I was like, oh, I was pacifist. I was like, no, man, I don't want nothing to do with it. But since I had to defend myself, I kept, fighting back, and I ended up loving fighting. By the time I was 9 or 10, I was already fighting. I was like, I loved hitting a motherfucker over the face, man. I love that shit. Like it became exhilarating. It became like wow, like
Therapeutic
damn,
almost.
yeah, like I get excited, you know what I'm saying? And but it's not always a good thing, because it got me in trouble too, and I got arrested a few times. But let's just say that there's always a fine line between stuff like that. But I just wanted to add to that. But like I said, now I want to I'm intrigued by the movie. But
I definitely think you should check it out.
Oh yeah, this
yeah,
Like
Well,
Walter
I just
haven't
have a
heard of it,
question,
I
though.
don't think, until I brought it up that it was going to be a part of this. And I think now that he's seen it, he now understands why I enjoy it.
yeah.
Yes, Tony.
I just, after all that though, like when did you start hiding behind a circle like a bitch, calling people fat?
Oh, I don't hide behind anyone.
Yeah. Everyone hides behind me.
Just
Why?
because
I never liked to fight unless I had to. And it would take a lot for me because
Yes.
I was always told, let them hit you first, and I would kind of like, I couldn't take it anymore the one time. And it really is true though. Like she said, you hit hard and hit them back harder. I stood up to the guy and he never touched me again, never said anything to me again. And then he failed and he was in my homeroom the next year. And then he's like, hey, Tony, how you doing? You just, but you don't want to, cut their ear in half with a pole.
That's very true.
Oh,
But
I
here's-
forgot about that part.
No, I don't. I remember. And see, and that's the thing right there is Tony bringing up, about
Yeah.
the sad part about that with bullies you deal with them. Sad part about it is I wasn't so much afraid about getting beat up. It was about what could I literally do damage wise to the person that's bullying me. And I unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, I did cause a great harm to this one. And unfortunately, blood was shed on his part, and that was my fault. But it's touch and go because it's like you don't want to go down that dark road of bringing out the worst in yourself, and usually that's what bullies do. Because it's like because you find out that bully there is the reason why you find out that there's a reason why he does what he does to that character because he's being bullied by his older brother. I'm like you always try to find out why do bullies bully.
It's like what I said before. It's a vicious circle.
Yeah,
It's like there's always like even though it's not always a great great reason. There is always a reason behind why
There's
people do some of the things that they do in life. And like you say, sometimes a bully turns into a bully because it's their way of releasing some of their inner pain by taking what they're angry and frustrated about what's going on in their own life or their situation, and they turn it around and they project it onto somebody else.
Yeah.
Because the crazy thing about that is, I'm sorry. So the crazy thing about that is, I'll say this and finish it up. The crazy thing about that is that you want to try to understand why that person would do the things to do, prey on someone else, just because, if you feel like if you're preying on someone just because, that to me, I'm sorry to say, that's pure evil. But I say it has to be something, some catalyst that makes you want to do that if you're a bully. To like I say, mess with somebody else. But that's why I say I try to, for me personally, I try to understand why a bully does what they do, because I don't want to just say, okay, he or she just bullying just to be bullying. No, there's something behind the curtain that makes them do this.
Yeah.
I don't you know what? I got bullied and I wasn't a bully. So if they are getting bullied and they bully, that's their fucking mind being made up to do that, I mean,
I gotta
go ahead.
Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
No, that's pretty much what I was just gonna say.
No, I was gonna say okay, I do agree with Tony, and I'll say this, yeah. But by the way, Tony, I won't call you fat ever again. I'll call you Fluffy. Sorry about that. And what do you call it? But
He's big boned.
no, man. No, but what do you call it? No, I agree with Tony, because they told me that too. Let them hit you first, but you could only get hit first so many times. So that's why I went into that. I beat the shit out of 2 kids at once.
I used to just say, if you touch me, I'm gonna bite your cock off. Never was bullied.
Well, that's more. Well, to me, that's more scary. But I mean, that's a little more frightening to hear that coming from Kevin. But no, I agree. Like with Tony said, and it's true. I was never a bully, but once I started beating the shit out of bullies and stuff like that, like 2 or 3 or 4 of them would just take their place, and it's like an endless cycle.
Yes.
Because once you start showing how tough you are, then everybody wants to test you. And that's why I had to really because man, there's times I didn't want to go to school, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna hear it from my parents if I get in trouble again, or I'm gonna get suspended.
Yes.
So I had to just take it. But I agree with both Kevin and I mean Kevin and Walter and Tony. But yeah, man, it's not a good thing, man, to always blame a bully for what goes on in their life, because shit, bro, a lot of bullies that I knew, man, they look like they had happy lives, bro. Some people are just bullies because they want to be a bully.
Yep.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Anthony Jordan, your take on this film?
Again, I just watched a synopsis, so I didn't see it, but I find it's got a interesting concept in the story. And one of the scenes I seen, I think it's really cool that it shows what happens if you don't invite the vampire in, and that it's actually really painful for the vampire.
Yes.
It's like the story it's telling could have taken vampires out of the equation, and it overly wouldn't have changed too much. Granted, you would still have to put something almost supernatural in to take its place.
Definitely.
But it's coming of age. It's about learning to stand up for yourself. It's a very interesting story.
Yes, like I say, like I've said to Sci-Fi, I'll say to you as well, Anthony, if when you get an opportunity, do try and see this movie, because I would really like to know your full-on opinion once you have seen the movie. Have I missed anybody
guys,
out?
I actually got to jump off, so I'm just going to go ahead and give my rating for this.
Yes, that's fine.
If you don't mind. So yeah, I really enjoy this a lot. Same with the original. I consider them both on the same level, and they're both 10 out of 10s for me. I think they're just really well made, well written, well directed. Sentry, definitely check it out. Even check out the original if you want. It's just as good. So
Yeah,
I mean, the
they're
only difference
both
with the
on
original
par.
is it's subtitled, but you know, either way, they're both very good. So check them out for sure.
Thanks for joining me, Anubis, for this short time. It's been a pleasure as always. And like I say, well, in the month of November, we've got lots of stuff planned with one another for each channel. So please subscribe, like, and share to the Metal Tavern Radio, to this man, Mr. DJ Anubis. And once again, thanks for being a part of this.
All right, guys. Enjoy. Have a good night.
All right, bro. Take it easy.
Right. So ratings, obviously it's hard for you to give a rating sci-fi with you not actually have seen the movie, but you've give your opinion of what you think of the movie, so that's, you know, good enough for me. Mr. Tony of the Dead, your overall rating and, you know, thoughts on the film.
I've only ever seen this one. I didn't even talk about it. Everybody else did. We talked about bullies. We got really into that.
Yeah, well, if you want to talk a little bit about it while giving your thoughts, then go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't remember exactly when I saw this first, but I remember seeing it. I never did see the 2008 one. I want to. I actually almost watched that instead of this, and I was like, wait, which one are we watching? But apparently it would have been almost the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
But I like the era. I like the music in this too. You know, I feel so bad for him. Like he's like the bullying with him in school. Like,
yeah,
we know from watching why that kid was doing that. Like, that's the excuse for it. But having kids, I think that too. Like when my son being autistic and that, I think, like, how are these going to be people like that are bullying him? You know, and he don't know any better, or you know, what if they threw him into a pool? I mean, luckily he could swim, but like, what if he didn't and they did that kind of stuff like that? That I always think of that.
I think your perspective changes when you become a parent yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does a lot.
When I was in school, there was this kid that got picked on for being overweight by this guy, this bully, and a kid, and he couldn't take it anymore. And one day he came to school and killed him, and it was like not far from me, and we had an assembly for it and everything, and it was just like, wow, I never thought of that. But yeah, the bullying really kind of hits home and like makes me worry about my kids. And but the relationship between him and her are great. I also like that, like, the father is not actually her father, and plus he has the whole serial killer thing going. And so it was interesting with that, and how he, like, to cover up his identity and all that, like, and I didn't know we were gonna see him like that. It was like so like scary, because I thought he jumped out and bam, hit the pavement, but she actually did that so it would be painless, I guess, but like, yeah, he played a great part too in this. I like the setting, the parent, everything, just kind of like the way the movie looks is how you feel. Like, it's grimy,
Yes, I agree.
And the pool scene, like that. Oh God, like that kid, his older brother is such an asshole, and then you just see the going on, and you don't actually see. You just see like somebody swimming by real quick, and and then just blood everywhere.
And you see a dismembered head floating down.
Yeah, I would actually have liked to have seen that main bully get his head cut off, though. That's all. The only gripe with that, I would like to have actually seen it. But the aftermath was really cool, and then the whole ending, and now she's basically starting over with somebody else.
And at that point with the pool too, it was clear they were going to kill him.
Yeah, they weren't going. I think though that the bully wasn't going to be a serial killer. I think if she didn't come into his life, he would have been a serial killer because of that mask and that. I think he had plans.
Wasn't he like studying serial killers? Like he had a scrapbook or something?
That I don't remember.
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember that part. If he did, I mean, I didn't notice it.
But he was messed up, and luckily she came around. But yeah, it's a really good movie. I would probably give it about an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it, and I do want to watch the 2008 one. I always wanted to, and I just never did.
Yes, Walter Ross, because I know you've seen it.
Well, I gotta say, this movie, like I say, like it's kind of like some other people who recommend, and even sci-fi who've recommended films to me. It's surprising to me how good they really are for me, because I'm thinking like, okay, you suggested it. That doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to enjoy it. I'm not going to like it that much as you do. It blows the hell out of me, the fact how really good these films can be. And this one is no different, because I was just like, dude, this is a real structured film. It's a story that involves, if you think about it, very isolated characters, two people, one who's dealing with the divorcee parents and also dealing with, bullying, in his life. But the other one just dealing with the fact that they have to hide their nature from some people, and it's you have to hide those things from certain things. But the fact that this film was much more enriching than I thought it would be, it just makes me think to myself, what other films have I not seen that are just as good, from the past? Maybe not as far, because this one's like 14 years old, but that I have kind of heard about, but didn't sit down and watch it, because it's like sometimes you miss out on a good thing just saying, well, I'm not going to bother watching it. And then some years later, it's like, the fuck was I thinking not watching this beforehand, because this film.
Since you mentioned that, the film I was telling you and D about?
Which one was that?
California.
Oh, California. Yes. I'm like, dude, I know about that film, but I just haven't watched it. I need to watch that film.
The one with the K, California.
Yes.
That's so fucking weird. I just added that to Plex like 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. No kidding. Yeah. I never saw it either, and I always heard it was good. And now
I haven't seen it either.
It's good.
Well, that could be something we could all get together and do a review on when we get an opportunity.
Because like, for what Anthony was describing, that's what I'm saying. When someone who's seen a film and they describe it and saying that you ought to check this out because this is a good film, you hear it, but it's like, as I said before, I'm like, I may not really get into it. You watch it and it's like, dude, I want more of this, and that's kind of what this film is. It's one of those films that really pulls you in, and as I told you before, it's very relatable because it's set during the time when I was a teenager, and like I say, and I was dealing with the same thing that the boy was dealing with, But all in all, the film, I have to give it a good rating of, and I'm saying good rating, I say it's 9.5 for me for this, because that's just how good it is to me.
Yes, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad it was a film I could recommend that you hadn't seen, that surprised you, but in the best way possible.
Right.
I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because I love it. I can watch this in the original version back to back. They're both as good as each other. It's one of them rare cases where they've turned a foreign film, when you've had a foreign international film that's become a huge success. In America, they say, right, we're going to do our version. It's like everyone rolls their eyes. They're like, oh fuck yeah, we go. The way to go to ruin a classic, but this turns out to be just as good as the original. You have The Departed, which was, an American remake of Eternal Affairs, which over in it was either Japan or China as an actual
it's China.
trilogy. It's an actual trilogy. I'm dreading though when we finally get it, because it's been in development hell for years. The Train to Busan, Train to New York.
Yeah.
That the fact that it's giving me kind of Salem's Lot vibes, how we waited forever for the new Salem's Lot, and look at what ended up happening there. So I haven't got high hopes for Train to
New York.
New York. Nah. But we have Big Bad Wolf has entered the chat.
Quick.
What up, guys? Surprised that Anubis ugly twin on the screen without him.
Who's that? You?
Well, that's
Surprised
Big
that
Bad
Anubis
Wolf.
ugly twin on screen without him.
Who's Anubis' ugly twin?
Yeah, that is Big Bad Wolf.
That might be me he's talking about.
But anyway,
I don't know.
This has been a blast as always. Amazing, conversations, discussions on 4 amazing movies.
It's me.
I love doing these discussions. It's been an epic time doing the Taste of Blood, the month of the vampire. I think we can all equally say we're all a bit vamped out though. So coming up for the rest of the month on the entertainment headquarters, I will be launching on Halloween my Romania Bram Castle blog, which is my little tour of the castle that inspired Bram Stoker, and there may be a couple of extra surprises on the channel. But that's from me in the entertainment headquarters. Is there anything coming up on anyone's channel that you'd like to mention?
I do have to. I said I didn't have really something on the back. I had something on the back burner, but I just realized that I had something in works. And since November 3rd is the Big G's birthday, I will be giving my take on discussing the Big G, as far as saying how much he's affected me, maybe others. And when I say Big G, I'm talking about my dick. No, Godzilla. No, I'm talking about Godzilla and talking about how much he has had such an effect on us. And that'll probably be out the same day as his birthday, because he turns 70 years old next month. And I need to bring that to address, which I'm pretty sure other people are going to do anyway. But I feel like I'm going to do that, because that's something I thought about. I'm saying, I'm going to do this for this particular time, because it's 70 years. And if we're not around in another 30 years for 100, it's like, well, at least we did do 70. So, I have that coming up.
I guarantee you that with Godzilla, I can see him making his 100th birthday. I don't think it's a franchise that's ever going to die. At the minute, it's at the height of popularity after, the Monsterverse is definitely giving it the boost it deserves. The Monsterverse is 10 years old as well. That's running high as well. We're getting another movie coming. We've got Monarch Season 2. And I'm sure down the line, we're going to get another movie from Toho. When? That's a different question. I think they'll always produce Godzilla movies. I generally believe that now. I think the technology's that advanced, and I think because of the buzz of -1, it will be ridiculous not to catapult on that opportunity to keep the franchise from going. Anthony Jordan, anything coming to your channel?
I've mentioned it in the other videos, but just finishing up Montober, and from the 28th through the 31st, I have at least one video coming out every day, including another original story I came up with about a Wendigo.
Yes, I'm looking forward to watching that one. Definitely. Mr. Tony of the Dead.
Yeah, I have to edit the Ghouls of Midnight. The Anubis and I did. More, it's kind of like more like I did because he hated, like he didn't like it so much that like he like literally like blocked most of it out. So like, but that's okay because usually he's the one talking 95% of the time because I'm like I hate talking. So
That's bullshit.
but yeah, I well,
You've
yeah,
never shut the fuck up. What you talking about?
yeah. We got that, and then I got my vinegar syndrome and stuff, so I'm gonna just like do an like a pickups
Yeah.
video.
Yeah,
Other than that,
I'd watched one of your pickup videos the other day. It was very interesting. It has made me think about maybe subscribing and getting some of the DVDs and Blu-rays.
well, I know the shippings might change your mind. I don't know, but you know,
Yeah, I do know. I used to do Loot Crate many years ago because he did
Yeah.
ship to the UK. I've never subscribed to that for years though. But I think I would rather do something that way I would get like physical media rather than just a shitty T-shirt and a magnet or something.
Yeah, and you'll know what you're getting.
Yes.
But, and also the Lake Mungo on Anubis' channel on Halloween.
Have you watched that yet?
No, I'm waiting till like the day before.
That's what, yeah.
Well,
Last minute.
Well, make sure. Well, in my opinion, make sure you have something to keep you awake.
Oh, well, I'm a big found footage guy, so.
Well, I don't. It's for me. It wasn't found footage. It's more like a documentary.
Oh.
It's like one of them things you'll get on Netflix. How to Create a Murderer, where you like it's people talking about an incident and them showing you footage of stuff that went on, and there's a mystery behind it. But for me, I wasn't blown away from it. But I'm sure when I do my little video for Anubis's channel, he'll not even fucking play it.
He'll play it. I'll make sure he does.
Sci-Fi, what's coming to your channel?
Just more appointments, man, and recovery, and I'm taking the rest of the holidays off to see what other stuff I have to assess with my back issues, and so that's pretty much it, man. I wanted to try to get Event Horizon done, but I don't know. I don't see that happening, and was gonna do Conan, was gonna try to get you guys on there, but that doesn't look like it's gonna happen either. So I'm just gonna get the appointments out of the way, man, and try to see if I can find some relief and see if I'm gonna have to have surgery or if I'm gonna have to get another injection. I don't know, but I'm just that's pretty much it, man. Just focusing on myself, I guess.
Well, build that strength up. Get yourself ready for February when I do the month of Kong on the entertainment headquarters. Yes, I'm going to do in February, dedicating a month to King Kong. Also, I will have a very special guest on my channel. First time I've ever interviewed somebody who I have a lot of respect for, Mrs. Linda Jo Miller, who, for those that may not know, she was one of the stars of, one of Toho's classic Showa era films, King Kong Escapes. So she'll be coming on the channel, and we're going to talk about her, life with Kong and things that she's done since Kong and what the future potentially may hold. So I'm very much looking forward to February. But until we get there, now that Taste the Blood in, the month of October is slowly coming to an end, I will be returning back to my normal segments that I do every month, bringing back the Retro Classic Movie Show. I'll be doing my Kaiju Connection segment, which will be Tarantula from the 1950s. My top 10 film remakes. I'll be bringing that to the channel. And of course, as always, my monthly Into the Darkness franchise discussion, which will be The Candyman. So lots of things to look
Can I just
forward
add something, Kevin? Can I
Yes.
just add something? Yes,
Mhm.
I wanted to get this off my chest. Tony, I'm apologizing for calling you fat man. Sometimes I offend people and I don't think about what I say. So I hope you didn't. I just wanted to apologize, be a man about it. I understand what you said about your son and about the bullying thing, man. So it resonated with me. So I just wanted to apologize to you. That just being upfront, telling you. Sometimes I it's in good fun, man. Sometimes I do mess around with people, but sometimes these guys know that sometimes when I say stuff, it comes out sounding a different, more derogatory way, man. And sometimes I'm too straight out for my own good, but I just wanted to call that out there, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, much respect, man. Much respect. There you go. Go ahead, Kevin.
Apparently, I'm still ugly, though, to some dickhead in the chat.
Hey, man. Hey, I never said ugly, bro, but fluffy.
Yeah. All I
It's not
can say
any
is
better, by the way.
Sorry, bro. Sorry. No. What I meant by fluffy teddy bear. There you go.
Yeah. You have no idea how many times, luckily they were women, said that to me. You're like a fluffy teddy bear. Then put me in your fucking bed, bitch.
Okay, but in all serious, bro. In all serious, man, I got respect for all you guys, man. So I got respect for you guys, man.
Well, it's nice to end this with a happy ending, and I
Yeah.
didn't have to put me fucking Jerry Springer hat on.
You need to get a black and white striped shirt.
Yes,
No,
like the
you gotta-
WWE fucking referee.
Just remember, if you get Big Bad Wolf on here and Tony's on there, bro, Tony's gonna give a little bit of a reckoning.
I reckon I might.
And yes, folks, we really are this dysfunctional.
Yes,
That's an understatement.
But you know what? There's no such thing as normal. There's no such thing as normal. We're a crazy bunch, but we're a good bunch. We support each other. We just here to have fun. We are just to crack each other's balls and have not in a dirty way, dirty bastards. But we are just to have a laugh. This is what we do. We're just like the chat movies, have fun, and it's our passion. We are passionate about films. We are passionate about television. We're passionate about all things entertainment. And it's all about connections and connecting with one another and having a great time doing it. And, these guys mean the world to me. I've loved starting the entertainment headquarters. It's something I started over a year ago. I celebrated, the 12th of October was my first launch of video, and how I decided to celebrate it is by bringing in a month of content based on the vampires. And next year, who knows? I'm looking forward to releasing the theme for next year's anniversary of my channel. But it's been fun, gentlemen. Thanks for joining me. Much love, much respect to all here, and thanks for being involved and making the entertainment headquarters what it's become. So I really do appreciate you all. And with that said, like I always say, keep on enjoying your movies, keep on enjoying all things entertainment, and we'll catch us all at the next one.